Looks like you and I are the only ones in here.
Yeah, Cher's on her way, she said. She just texted me.
She just texted me too. Trying to get you on my Bluetooth on my car.
Let me send her the link really quick. Hold on. I think she might got the wrong link or something. All right.
Did you like the thumbnail picture I put?
Are we live?
Yeah. Did you like the thumbnail picture I put? Yeah.
Okay.
Look at the thumbnail picture. You won't believe who that is.
Where?
On this live. You know, see if I can. There she is.
Hi.
What's up, gang?
Oh, we gotta echo. Oh, we gotta echo.
Hold on. There we go. I'm sorry, it was hooked up to my car.
Oh, I was hoping it wasn't me. Benny, I've missed you.
Man, I've been 3 feet into the music.
I know it. You're killing it. Love it.
Did you see the new video?
Did you put it out yesterday?
I put it out last night. The promo is it's
No,
about a 40,
didn't
50
see it
minute
then.
cut, for a 40 or 50 second cut. I'm supposed to be publishing the music and then getting it on the iTunes here in the next few days.
Oh shit, that's nice. I'll check it out after this.
Cool. I'll send you the full length version. I have the full video. I just put out a promo for right now.
Yeah, please do. The girls think it's pretty cool when they get the first look. They feel special.
You'll get it with 0 views on it.
Yay! Hey, Uncle Matt.
Hello, kiddo.
How you doing?
Oh, we having fun yet?
Yeah, always.
So now they got you both up here.
Yeah, what's up?
What's your thoughts about Timmy Boy? Because I've come up with, I got a thought of.
I think fucking Tim's guilty as sin itself.
I mean, look, the guy he admitted to, and I don't know why he admitted to all this stuff, but he admitted to holding on to Don's phone for 2 weeks after the 8th of last February.
And Don told me his phone was given back to him completely shattered in a bag, tied up in a bag.
And one thing you told me, kid, is I don't bet unless I'm going to win an up bet. You told me that Tim was controlling Don. Well, I think you're
not very well, though.
No.
Right, not very well at all.
He's not doing that very well.
No, that's why I say he's not dumb. Like, Tim is too stupid, so I know he's not the upper, but
I read something Tim Boy did a long time ago, and I can't remember where I found it. Because believe it or not, what I read, he was worried about, I know this is going to sound weird, but he was worried about a nuclear bomb in Kingsport.
yeah. That's the one thing he flipped out on me about, because I found one of his old videos and it is him and it's at the fucking place with the pumpkin patches and he's blowing up things. He makes small little bombs and he reached out to me so fast and he was like, you have such a vivid imagination. You would really be a good storyteller, good for the movies, your imagination, but that's not me. I'm like, really? But you rushed out to seek me down over showing that, but it's not you? You couldn't just ignore it then? So I know that was him.
Yeah, so he's just really concerned for someone else that you're talking about.
Yeah. So someone else throwing a bomb, and somehow he's just very worried about them.
Well, when I told him, I said, look, man, not that I necessarily one way or the other think that the phone that was in your possession for 2 weeks while you were trying to figure out how to take and extract the stuff off of it, I said, explain that to me. And I'll pass it over to you, Matt. After this, I'll pass you the recorded phone call I did with him.
All right.
He tried to go around the iTunes, right? So with the iPhone, all you got to do is download iTunes for free and then plug the phone up and it will automatically extract it. He took he did what's called a bootable copy of the phone, which means that with the correct software, after you extract it from the phone, you can open it up. And I said, yeah, you know, this man has a past allegations of messing with kids and sex workers in Knoxville. I said, you probably just download a whole bunch of BS to your home computer. And I said, this is the problem with that. You can't throw it away now, homie. If you throw it away, they'll be able to see that you had it and you threw it away. I said, you got to hold on to it now. And I said, you got a choice. You don't have the phone no more, but you got the best available copy of what was on that phone at your house. I'm going to need you to turn that in so that we can make sure Don don't have no weird stuff on there. And this is what he told me, y'all. He said, well, I'm not here for that part. And I said, well, I'm going to have to call the police on you, bro. The police can come and get it, or you can turn it in. You're on your own. I don't give a shit what you do, but it will be addressed.
Wow.
And so now, Cher, you're saying that the phone was hand delivered back, but it was broken, evidently, right?
Yep. He said,
so I'm guessing that it
smashed up in a bag.
It came back good. Candace broke it. Guaranteed.
Yeah, I can see that. Hey, Dynamite. Wow.
All right, I'm gonna put you both on the spot. Where do you guys think Summer where she's been put at?
I think that it's something that was like old film. It had to develop, right? They didn't have time. They didn't have time to do a whole bunch of jabberwocky, right? So they had to move the girl from the property, right? Now, the reason I say that is because if you're involved as, you know, the paternal aspect of the missing child, if you are involved and the sheriff does you a favor, like say, well, we can't prove she was abducted. It seems like there's the very real possibility she wandered away and became lost in the mountainous terrain surrounding her home. Well, in terms of getting off the hook, you're off the hook.
But Benny, do you remember, was it Detective Pruitt who said he didn't believe that she's outside of the area, and also the words saying we could be looking for a girl her size could be the size of a laptop computer? Does that look like or sound like they're looking for a girl that's alive at that point? If she could be the size of a laptop computer?
I wouldn't. In my opinion, if you're going to make a child that's almost 4 foot tall, the size of a laptop computer, they're not going to stay that way for very long. They got to be incapacitated in order to keep them that way. But that's where it segues in about the picnic basket, right? So you've got all the things on this inventory list that were taken consensually. And one of them is a picnic basket. I just, for the life of me, I mean, it seems to me like a vessel, right? Without any context about how big the actual picnic basket is or was or whatever, it is problematic that you have something like that, because we don't have any still footage, video of anyone saying anything like, oh, well, they had a picnic basket with them that day, or they had a picnic basket in the back of the truck, or
I forgot about that.
You don't have that. So you have the complete of where does this come into play?
Give me a minute. I'll text my dad.
And then, you know, it's really problematic when you look at the personnel involved, right? You've got, and I was very explicit about this a couple of days ago, during the Evelyn Boswell case. Trudy and Chris, the PIs, well, the PI and his wife, you know, I know Chris and Trudy, and they're, you know, they're all about the details, right? And I just felt like it was, I just felt like it was a bunch of bullshit, pardon my French, that they're soliciting their abilities for free to the Boswell family, while presuming that Trudy is sitting there as an investigator, because it says in the title that the private investigators, plural. She's not a private investigator.
Right.
So it's like she assumed, it's like she impersonated one, right? I have a problem with that.
Yeah. Yep. Everyone should have a problem with that, you guys. Hello, everyone.
And I mean, when you look at what they've got there, they think they're the GOAT, the greatest of all time. When you look at the actual details of that man's case, essentially the mother or the family, however that worked out, they had a really good idea of where he might be at. And they just sent them over there, and they basically made an identification. That, you know, it's strange. It's more like they did her a favor, like, can you go see if he's over here in this car and he's self-harmed? They went right up to where he was at and identified it was him.
Hey, Wandering, Dodie.
Good afternoon, though, everybody. Yeah, it is a nice surprise. Mind-blowing, actually.
Mind-blowing.
Oh, you said you wanted this done in what month? Last year, if I remember right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize the work that you put in.
I haven't done anything, because as I told Don, I won't go to Ben Hill with no sense to.
I don't think you have to go to the house and to put in the work. I mean, I know
if
what
you do,
you're
you'll be bringing cockroaches home with you if you stay too long.
I need a D9 bulldozer.
Man.
I definitely need a D9 bulldozer.
How are you feeling about their united and so in love front and everything there, Benny?
I think it's very strange because Don likes the neighbors and hookers in Knoxville.
Anything with a hole, right?
Yeah, Candace will quit him while she's supposed to be holding him down while he's locked up, and fall in love with me or Ernie Shell or whoever.
When I talked about the courthouse in the parking lot, he said, "I trust my wife implicitly." I'm like, oh, brother.
Mm-hmm. Now, he was really actually worried about going to jail that day, wasn't he? Because right before, I told him, 2 days before that court date was our last phone call. And that's interesting to me because I specifically said, I will not put you on my YouTube channel anymore, Donald. It hasn't helped anything. Summer's still gone. So the only way I talk to you now is not on YouTube because I know you're full of shit. You just told me, share, come on. You know what I do with YouTube, right? You know that I'm just bullshitting everyone on YouTube, right? Well, duh. I mean, yeah. Okay. So therefore, I'm not going to put you on my channel. Funny how that was the last time he called me.
And right after that court date is when I
yeah.
He blocked. Hold on, I'll pull it right back up off the messenger.
I keep texting him like periodically. I texted him, I'm like, hey man, I hear Dolly's on his way out there in a week, and I hear you're dealing with the white boy lockdown Italian, who likes to sell date rape drugs to detectives and shit. Like you're about to really royally F off your probation, Don. I said, because man, I'm a hop, skip, and a jump from laying it out and telling him like, man, he's dealing like Dolly has an alleged sex offense from Nashville pending. Like, who are these people?
They probably won't do much of anything either.
Hard to say.
But that Saturday after the court date, Don texted me on her new profile.
Yeah.
And I said, why the new profile? I guess some Thacker, my FB and Messenger all disappeared and could not get back into any of it. The password was even changed.
That's why frickin' Tim Mullen found out he was talking to you, went in and deleted you. So then Don had to fucking make a new one. Are you kidding me? How many different platforms he's talking to me on? Because yeah, once Tim Mullen gets a hold of it, or Candace, it gets deleted. So then he quick texts to make another one, and
or he gets caught lying to them when they're like, "Are you talking to Matt?" And he's like, "Oh hell no!"
Right.
And then he bombs out on that account and's got to make another one.
I think Tim's whole controlling the strings on all of it. Tim's end game is he sees either thinks he's going to get a movie out of this thing, or something like that. I mean, Tim put up yesterday on the Find Summer Wells thing about all the YouTubers throwing Don under the bus. So Don goes under that school bus.
I cannot believe he actually pictured Don. Now, one thing I want to say, you remember the pictures? I mean, they're not good pictures, but they're out in their yard, and it's the family, and Candace is holding on to like maybe a 2-year-old Summer, and Don's in the background looking all miserable. You know what picture I'm talking about? One of the boys is in like a Ninja Turtle shirt. It's right in their yard, and Candace is like kneeling on her knees, I think, with Summer. That picture, those pictures, who do you think are taking those pictures, people?
Grandis, maybe Jody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And he told me he doesn't like Jody.
Oh, he doesn't like Jody? He said that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Some of the stuff he sent me, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. Some of it is stupid crap that I was trying to gain his trust, but some of it.
Jody's far more attractive than the neighbor that Don had sex with in front of Candace while she was passed out.
Crazy. That's so crazy. Yeah, Don would be like, just come and stay here. You don't need a hotel. I'm like, I don't think Candace would like that. And I want to wake up the next morning, Don. He was like, don't you worry about Candace. And I'm like, okay, well, okay. Okay.
Either that or he just sees Jody as a liability. Like, why would he want to mess with Jody? Because Don doesn't really get the whole fantasy completed unless he pays for it, right?
You're terrible.
Ew.
Terrible.
No, he's being himself, which is what I wanted him to do. I'd rather Benny be Benny than anything else.
Okay, so so when you were there, Tim Mullen texted you from inside the courthouse, right? For why was he inside that court date when he has nothing to do with it? Or does he, right? Because from reading it, unless you have something, it was closed, right? So why is he there?
That's a good question, because he's accusing me of crap, and I was literally picking up an order for Burger King.
Yeah. Yeah, so he was in there in the court with them. So that's interesting for why. And then he texted you before they walked out asking you not to approach them again, right? Because so he knows, or he had seen that Don was talking to you right before he walked in.
Yep. I didn't
really quick. This is Summer Wells. She was age 5, 40 pounds, 3 feet, allegedly. She went missing on the afternoon of June 15th, 2021. If you have any information, please call 1-800-TBI-FIND. If you'd like to submit a tip anonymously through the website, it is tips2TBI@tn.gov.
You know, somebody left a comment a minute ago, and I didn't say anything. I'm going to. Let me explain something real quick. And this, you have a problem with who I talk to, and I've done this before. Come on, Amerigas, get out of here, noisy. If you have a problem with who I talk to, you are not my wife. That's the only person I worry about. Let's get that back straight.
Yeah.
The one I have to worry about on that one is one I sleep next to every night.
We got Benny with Don, and now I got Summer on there. There we go. There we go. That's what it's supposed to be about, people. Summer, not the Don Wells show, not the Candace Wells, which male or female YouTube creator can she try to sleep with next?
They turned into this whole joke clown show.
Absolutely. Okay, so he texted you from in there, and he said, "Do not approach Don and Candace. They've had such a hard time here in court this morning."
They've had such a hard time having to stop the drugs because their kids got in the way.
Yeah.
That's the real problem.
Yeah.
Matt, he says, Matt, please be respectful of Don and Candace. Her heart cannot take dangerous stress right now.
Yeah.
Thank you. Dude,
I think those cigarettes are probably more of a detriment than anything YouTube can do. And the drinking and all that other stuff.
When I talked to him, I was very respectful. I was actually being nice for once. Because I had something up my sleeve, which backfired, but I did.
In my opinion, you've always been respectful. I mean, I don't know, like what he did over on Daisy's, I covered it a couple of days ago, Matt. I had to cover it because Don put on his earth tone Dockers shirt and had his hair all dapper Dan and greased up and stuff.
Sure did.
And the hypocriticism was at an all-time high.
Sure was. Yep.
This guy, he would say, "Oh yeah, we're dumb for drinking, but let me tell you all about YouTube." And like, no, that's not what we want to know about. We want to know about, and he wouldn't say anything about the narcotics or the sex workers. He'd only just admit to having a problem with alcohol.
Right. That's how Don does. He's always like, well, I'm going to admit to this. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. And I've done this and this and this, and always cops to, the smaller little pleas in life. Yeah. Deflect and don't look at this, but yeah.
Yeah, he minimizes,
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's a dangerous culture. It's a really cultural environment it has no design, guys. What it is that we being dumpster diver Daisy, we're going to enable Don at all costs because she absolutely has to hold on to what that is over there, right? Like, I had said publicly, I was like, well, you're probably making some money now, but just wait if we could get a fourth or a fifth sexual misconduct statement to come out, you'll really be rolling in the money.
Damn.
They've turned this whole thing into about themselves, not about a missing little girl.
Well, how do you feel when Donald talks to you, Uncle Matt? Do you feel he keeps taking it away from Summer and makes it about some other bullshit? Like, do you honestly again, a lot of people don't know, but you do, and for a long time you have been in this. You've just were silent for a little while, and I was like, make your platform, but tell us, how are you feeling by the conversations you've had? Because for me, he never wants it to focus on Summer. Never.
No, he doesn't.
You couldn't even get him to do a plea for her for the first 10, 12 months.
Right.
He'll only do it for Summer if it's something involved that's going to benefit him.
I mean, he would not plea for his daughter, but he would allegedly take the oldest boy and run to Utah because of some sort of, misconduct, which we won't get into that. But, it's like when you look at the way he's treated the women, his women children, his girl children, it's hard to look at whatever may be the relationship between Don and Summer when you had the segue into seeing how he talked about Margie and her sexual assault, right? Let me tell you what, somebody does that to my daughter and they'd still be looking for that person right now to this day. And he said she took it like a champ. How does he know how she took it?
I've shared something.
Right.
My second oldest sister was raped when she was 5 years old.
Hey, Trev time. You should get up here too.
And yet, my if you saw the newspaper clippings, my biological father, there was not a cop around the guy that did it. Every state cop was around my biological father because he was going to rip this guy to shreds in the courtroom.
Hey, sis, love you.
And I look at Don, it's like, Don, you're not doing a effing thing. You're just making jokes and games and everything else.
Yeah, that's all he's done. Let's not forget the $1 million fake confession he wanted to do within the first 6 weeks of his daughter missing. You know, he wanted me to call up pay-per-view and get him a deal all set. Like, he's never taken any of this seriously.
I mean, he won't even pay. He will not even pay. Like, I remember when Tim called me, Matt. Tim called me. It was the night before Candace was due into the dentist to have the oral surgery to have all the teeth removed. And Tim calls me at the 11th hour and he says, man, you got any people that got money that might help us? And I said, yeah, but what do you need help with? He's like, well, we need about, I think it's like $3,400 to pay for her oral surgery. And I said, yeah, no, I do, but there's just no way I would ask anyone to do something like pay for her teeth to get removed when a standard issued weekend for Don in Knoxville costs $3,000. He had just got back from a bender with the crack and the sex workers, and now his wife needs a surgery to potentially save her life, right? I mean, the dangers of having all of that going on orally with your brain and your heart and all that. He put it on Tim to ask me, and I was like, no, man, there ain't a sideways hair in hell that I'll get involved with that. No way. And shame on this lady who is taking her financial blessing and sowing it on the Wells kids. I hate for it to sound that way, but that's what it is. Don knows, he knew he could sit back and be a POS. He could get out of jail and make one little, sort of fugazi trip out of town to make it look like he was going to work. But even when he did that, he was like, I wouldn't even need to go to Arizona if Molly Golightly would give me that $2,000 she's been waving around. And I'm like, Don, you're asking for $10,000. So if she gives you $2,000, you still need $8,000, bro. Right? Like, he doesn't want to work because he knows he could play on the heart of somebody in this community.
Right.
And not just someone, many someones.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth?
Benny, do me a favor. Put a comment in the chat. I don't care if you just say hi.
Hey Frank, hey Cotton Candy.
Did you see it? I might have to use this other phone.
Master manipulator. Yeah, sure is. Sure is. And so he won't have a conversation with Lawson, right? You were saying, Benny?
Right. Yeah,
interesting.
It's troublesome because literally the first 8 words out of his mouth was Brandon Lawson was 12 miles away doing all of that stuff. And he really wanted to tell me about all the stuff he heard about Brandon Lawson while he was in jail. And I'm like, Don, you're not making no sense, bro. In fact, what you're actually doing is lying on yourself because you can't be in segregative housing 23-1 and also be talking to all these people and getting the juice on Brandon Lawson, bro. Like, you're a liar. You just can't. There's no length of continuity in the thought. At all.
And also, you guys in the chat. Now, listen, I get being bullied about the teeth and all, right? But here's my thing. I still went about and made my platform knowing the teeth I had, whatever, right? Did I change that? Yes. I would not need my teeth done to go on a platform to beg for my daughter's return. I'd do that with no motherfucking teeth in my mouth.
I would.
So why that was a concern? is crazy. Yeah, that's crazy to me.
Give me an ice skate and a bowling ball. We'll get rid of them.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean? Like that wouldn't have been a necessity for me to have to go and use that platform, even though I hate that platform. But you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely,
that would have been the last of my worries at that point.
They don't care about that. Their daughter missing.
No, it's what all they can get from it now. Well, it's always been that way.
You know, and I found it a very interesting dynamic because very early on, after they peed dirty for cocaine while they were being investigated, about 2.5 weeks later, CPS comes. All the chemicals and ingredients, right? So they wait until they're being investigated for their boys and their missing daughter to sniff a pack of cocaine, right? Then pee dirty and then come to the line here and basically Candace throwing Don into the fire because she peed dirty too.
Mm-hmm.
But all they would say she peed dirty for was marijuana. And that's not the case.
Right. And that's not what Don told me. I have text messages from Don.
Was once they removed the children. Absolutely. There was environmental hazards. There was some electrical issues. There was the bugs. And then there was the 50-gallon drum of poop white paper that was right there in front of the toilet. Mm-hmm. They had to have a lot of things resolved. And one of those things was an inpatient drug rehab for both of them, 28 days. So what I started to see was, well, I mean, while I was in Tennessee, Matt, I drove Don to the rehab and he refused to stay because he thought that the intern was saying, you can't smoke here at all. And all the intern was saying, the intake person was saying was, I can't let you smoke after we finish the paperwork. I can't let you smoke until the doctor comes to see you and checks your vitals. Then you can go in the courtyard and smoke. He lost his mind, right? So what I started to see the pattern of was typical junkie shit. Pardon my French. When they say you have to go to rehab and you have to fix the environmental hazards in your home, rehab is the first thing you do. You run to rehab, you get that out the way, right? You don't try to struggle for 21 or 22 months after, post-event, trying to fix your house while you're struggling with an addiction. That ain't the way no. He's putting his sobriety last. Both of them are putting their sobriety last. In my opinion, if you get sobered up and you look like you could pass a P test and all this other stuff, breathalyzer, guess what? They'll be far more apt to maybe let you see your children, even if you haven't knocked out all the environmental issues, right? No, the sobriety is the last thing. You want to hang on to that crack pipe all the way to the end.
Matt booted himself. Tim is losing the grip of his narrative and it scares him. He needs his narrative for his book deal or Netflix special, right? Right.
Like I knew it was all fugazi share when I first, I got into Tim's truck, his little red CRV there.
Yeah.
First of all, he lives up there in the mountains and he's only got a 2-wheel drive. Not to mention, it's got about 3 or 4 mechanical lights on the dash. And I'm like, what in the hell is this? Like, you're the mastermind, but you can't change your oil? And you can't put some power steering fluid in it? Like, what the hell is this? But I lost complete respect for that man and the parents that bore him for the way that he reacted around that phone.
Yeah. Well, and he did a lot of other shit too that I would have been always like, what the fuck? But you and some other people really did, like him going through your fucking bag when you're there and being sneaky about it and rummaging through your bag because he thought, well, I just had to check. Like, I don't know. It could have been a bot in there. Like, what the fuck?
He thought one of the ladies there had a little extra energy. And for whatever reason, he thought that I was the source of her extra energy. So
wow.
I had my bag with my marijuana and my papers and stuff and all of that. I had it on top of the back of Don's tonneau cover on the bed of his truck. And all of a sudden I hear Candace scream out the door, "What the fuck are you doing? Get out of his bag." And he got caught red-handed.
Wow.
Through my stuff.
That's crazy.
Yep.
And what'd you do?
Yep. I told him, I said, "Don't you worry. Anything in that bag is prescribed to me. It's non-habit forming. And there isn't a chance in hell I'm going to let Don or Candace smoke any of this marijuana." She asked me several times while I was there.
I bet.
And I was like, "Listen, man, no. I'm not gonna be the one that's gonna give you marijuana and make a bad decision that's gonna tie this thing up for even, however much longer, But you got to understand, like, that urine analysis was just that, Cher. It was a urine analysis. They peed dirty for cocaine while being investigated for their children.
Yeah.
It's not like they took a hair out of each of them and went back 9, 10, 11 months and saw what they were doing before the children all vacated.
Right.
They were partying while they were ducking CPS. Once CPS got the treble hook in their lip, then they were just up there like, well, hell, I can't run off. He's thinking to himself, he can't run off to Knoxville, so he's just going to get his cocaine and party at the house right there.
Yeah, so you guys, this sounds like what innocent parents should be doing.
Exactly, Marlene.
This is how we should be acting when we have missing children, you guys. But I'm just evil. Fuck Cher. Fuck Benny. We're just exploiting the wells. We're just worried about the paychecks that we were not getting like other creators were.
Listen,
get out of here.
You've got a real issue that's I think it's probably found event valve, right? But I keep it alive, and this is it. You had Jody Sue, and we all, myself included, I don't want to put you in there, but me all tried to make Jody the biggest liar in all of Eastern Tennessee when she started talking about Andy bringing something that had a sedative effect over to that hill.
Right.
On the 12th of the 13th, right? I thought there's just no way. That's too fantastical. But now you've got Don hanging out with White Boy Lockdown Radio.
Right.
White Boy Lockdown Radio was selling date rape drugs to detectives.
Woo!
So the drugs that the drugs that the White Boy Italian was selling at least contributed to one woman being sexually whatever, right?
What a piece of shit. Yep.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
And now the dude, he some kind of way can't tell the difference between a cop and a junkie, but can survive prison and come home and try to be the voice of the prison community here, right? No, not at all. Not at all. Because I can tell you right now, him and his girl, I can tell they get off.
Oh,
anything that those two are involved in, it's got a penis or a vagina in it. Every time. Every time. They don't want to have a conversation unless it's about making a male creator gay or exposing a woman who has had sexual assault in her past. Now, the interesting part about what they did to Margie that they didn't even know they did to Margie, they had blinders on, for fuck's sake. That woman has at least one, maybe three offenders, different offenders that weren't reported that are out in the continuum, right? Now, let me tell you what, people in prison, they'd rather go to prison for murder than rape. So if these two idiots bring this woman on here and she starts putting heat on whoever were the offenders of hers in the past, you start to create a situation where, in my opinion, the people that assaulted Margie years ago may come back and try to finish up the deal. Right? Like, you're putting the woman in danger by doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't see it that way. Right?
They hate that. Yeah, Trev. They wanted us all to shut up about Summer. That's crazy. When you got Tim Mullen saying he kept it off of, I had TV shows I could have got him on that they had turned down. Tim Mullen has always stopped it. He chose it to stay on the Facebook and the YouTubes. Why? Sure. When Summer's face and name could be out there so much larger scale, but Tim Mullen stops it.
Don wanted me to go with him to LA, right?
Yep.
And I told him, I said, Don, there ain't no fucking way, buddy. There ain't no way I'm gonna go up there and be involved in none of that, bro. I said, first of all, they're probably gonna do something real weird, like spring a polygraph on you and say that you can't get your plane ticket back home unless you take the test, right? So I said, no thanks, right? Well, come to find out, they were there on the Hollywood Strip. Don is just like a kid in a candy store. I mean, he was buying so much cocaine out there while they were at Dr. Phil's.
Yep. See, guys, I've been telling you.
Yeah, he even bought like $150 worth of baking soda. Somebody ripped him off. And so I'm telling Tim while they're out there, I'm like, man, what are you doing? Don't tell me you can't tell these people are intoxicated.
Yeah, said, I remember our phone calls back then too. Every time they got, you knew
let it run its course. He said, you got to let it run its course. When they were over there beating up on each other, I'm like, if it happens again, I'm done. Well, Benny, no, you got to hold on, man. You got to just let it run its course. What part of Don beating the shit out of Candace is gonna bring any answers about Little Summer home? None.
It doesn't, but then their true color, it starts to show, right? It's just letting their behaviors, man. Everyone giving you shit. I'm like, you gotta let this man do his thing. Like, some people are too afraid to go where Benny's going.
Well, and in the ass said, he gets on there the other night with dumpster diver Daryl, and he says shit like, I respect the police and I don't want to get in their way. Well, then why are you on the internet saying that she was abducted? I mean, that's going directly against what Lawson has put out there in the continuum. He hasn't said anything about abduction.
Right.
Don't come up here and say in one breath that you admire the police, but think that they got it wrong at the same time. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. And I guess, guys, there's really like two types of fathers in the world. And there's probably some fractional angles in between too. But you've either got guys like Tim Miller who will never stop until they find out what happened. And then you got a guy like Don that will wear blinders so as he doesn't have to try to look and find out.
Right. But again, sure doesn't look innocent, does it?
No, it does not. No, it does not.
And I'd say, quite honestly, we all did. We gave it a fair. Everyone kept share. Come on, like, remember, you don't like wrongful convictions. Let's be fair. Okay, yeah. Mark, freaking. I'm not even going to talk about Scam and Alley, but Mark, Benny, like reminding me of that. So Candace and Don got the most fair shot, treatment, help from the team we had at the beginning than anyone. I know exactly what's going to happen. Call me Psychic Share. Call Benny a psychic, because what's going to happen is they're going to get arrested. All these idiots are going to be like, I was reporting the whole time, and then they're going to try and act like it was something that they weren't doing the entire fucking time, so they don't look stupid. Mark my words, okay?
You're exactly right. And let me tell you what, Donald Wells is so fearful of trying to continue to navigate this without having some connection to me.
Yeah.
Every single other person in the world, they know how to block the phone. I mean, for Christ's sake, he can drywall like a genius. You mean to tell me that he doesn't know how to block my phone calls? Of course he knows how. He just is scared to. And I stay in his ear. You're dealing with people that sold drugs to incapacitate women to the police. You're dealing with someone like Daisy. You've got to really pull this thing out of the hole, man, because it's bad. You got Dolly creeping around your house. It's as if you've made extra effort to corral all of these sex offenders around you at the same time.
Oh shit! Yep, didn't even think about that.
And you know, Daisy, she was sort of the curator of the Summerwells rape community with PG when it was the phone call where they kept saying that she, you know, Candace called in saying that he raped her. Well, whatever. Yeah. Hey, Marlena, did you see in his eyes when Daisy said that if Summer came home today, she would not be happy? I said, are you fucking kidding me? If
Wait,
the only way she would be
said
happy,
that?
Oh, go look at McBros.
Wow.
Like the last 2 minutes, they were like, yeah, Summer wouldn't be happy. Now, if she was coming from the White House back to Shit Hill, probably wouldn't be happy. But if she's coming for where I think she may be at, someplace like that, she's going to be ecstatic to be home. And I don't think little Summerwells, she doesn't give a shit in a bucket like Jody Sue about anything that YouTubers are doing. If she's still with us, right?
Right.
Yeah. He says his boys, they're seeing this. He said that. Cher, there is no way those boys have a device to be looking at YouTube. There's no way.
No, I don't believe. No, they're being kept from that, at least as much as they can. If they're at school, yeah, there's some monitoring there happening. I like to believe.
Benny, you were up here for a week.
I mean, you can see it from the very jump start. I mean, from the Johnny Depp of this whole thing, they took the kids all the way to West Tennessee, 8 hours away.
Mm-hmm.
They took them as far away as they could from the wells and said, now, if you want to see your kids, have at it.
Yeah.
And they only made the trip twice.
Going down, they got to jump through all kinds of hoops. They'll do that.
Seen their... They don't have to jump through no hoops. In fact, Uncle Matt,
even if they have to jump through hoops, why would they not? I'm sorry. So your kids aren't worth it, is what they're saying. But remember, I've got that recording I should play again of Don, right before Don goes to jail, saying, we tried to have no kids, but Candace's dumbass went ahead and had them. So the boys are gone. Summer's gone. Don's about to be off in jail. He just doesn't know it. And he says, yeah, we didn't want to have kids, but stupid Candace. And I'm like, well, how are you guys doing now? And remember Candace screaming in there, we're fucking awesome. We're great. And Don's like, yeah, we're doing really good. And that's when Mark looked at me like, oh, like, yeah, I can't. There's nothing I can do to support these people no more. And Mark for sure gave them a fair shot. They said they were fucking fantastic now that they have no kids, while their daughter is missing, mind you.
Well, I'm sure they don't have to work. They don't have to clean. They don't have to keep their pee. Well, I guess he's got to keep his piss clean, but there's just no, like, anyone that's ever went through sobriety either tried to do it with a love interest or maybe met a love interest while you were going through the sobriety process.
Right.
It never works.
No.
If Candace has a bad day, Don's going to relapse. And if Don has a bad day, Candace is going to relapse. It's never going to work. Not those two.
Nope.
They're too mentally limited.
Yeah. Well, they're what's the word? They're hooked on each other just as bad.
I mean, there's only one other person in the world that makes the kind of shit both of them pull off okay to do. I mean, think about it. All the hookers and the neighbors that he's had sex with, you know, in front of her while she's passed out. Like, I think she prefers it that way. She prefers to be in this domestic nightmare, but also not have to have sex with Don, right? So she's out chasing it around with Age and Ernie and lying on me and so on and so forth. Like, both of them hypersexualized while their children are all gone. I mean, from Sunday till Friday night, I can't even hardly sleep or eat without my son. But these two can become fully sexually engulfed.
I'll be right back. I gotta get gas.
Where does all the background music is extremely distracting? Oh, not sure. Matt's in his car. I was in the laundry room. Maybe it was my washer. Sorry. Codependent.
Did you notice how when on McBro's clip, Daisy had mentioned something about them doing some activity before the helicopters got there, and Don jumped right over the helicopters and talked about the Army airplane that kept flying back and forth. And I thought that was very interesting because that preceded the look on Don's face when they asked, well, when the two idiots asked Don, how do you think Summer would feel if she came home right now? Or what would she do? Boy, he had the look of, I mean, a different kind of fear. A different kind of fear was on his face. And I was like, wow. Wow. No, what these kids will do is they will admire all of us for what we tried to do, but hate their parents. That's what they'll do. And then Don says all of this is his fault because they didn't have cameras at the house. But over there, around a bunch of those idiots, Cher, he can say that because they're not going to call him out and say, but yeah, Jody Sue had at least one camera on you because she says you're the peeping Tom.
Right.
Why wouldn't she have a camera on your driveway specifically and what's coming down the road before your driveway? It's probably 2 cameras over there at least. And he keeps telling people there wasn't no camera. It was a camera. Jody says she had the footage ready for the police before they got there.
That's interesting. Ready for the police before they got there.
It's this. Absolutely. So then you got to do the mechanics on that. So if the little girl goes missing at 5 and Jody has the cards ready before the police get there, so what did she pull them out of the machines at 6? And then it goes from 6 until dark, 4 more hours. The little girl, there's activity going on. You know, when did you pull the card? How much of the goings-ons that evening did you miss?
Right.
Right.
Did they really get to the police, you think?
Right. Candace. Well, I don't know, because then there was allegedly these breaking and enterings in Jody's trailer where she specifically says that some of the things that were taken were the digital SD cards.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
Conveniently, yep.
Right? Why would that idiot think he needed to take the cards Jody has when the police already got the footage too? You're going to have to steal it from the police first.
Don ain't that smart, Jody, to be quite honest. He'd be like, I need the what? Yeah, no.
No, you're right. You're right. We're talking about a guy that's defecated online twice already, right?
Yeah.
Like the guy just, he has no... Yeah, he showed his twig and berries too. Like he just has no shame at all. And I mean, like the picture of the 4 kids that are taped to the dashboard of the Subaru. Who do you think that's for? That isn't for any of them in the family. No. It's for the hookers Don has jumping in and out of the car all the time.
Well, it's because they knew they were going to have cameras in there, and I think the real Gonzo or whatever had done that, because I actually thought it was Tim Mullen at first, but it's just like the mom patrol shirt. It's to try and soften their image and make them relatable. And look at, why would they drive around if they did something with the picture? Because they're recording it and we're seeing it, right? That's why.
Right. I mean, look at Mr. John Ramsey, the father to John Bonet. For the better part of 20 years, him and Burke and Patsy, you know, the whole lot of them, Neighbors, Fleet, White, all of them were all looked at with the side eye. But let me tell you what, try to get a hold of Mr. Ramsey right now, and I'll wait. You tell me when he gets back to you, right? Or try to reach out to your sheriff in your locale, your constituency, on Facebook, and tell me how long it takes for him to get back to you. You've got all these impossible, I mean, they've got all the resources so close. I don't even know who the sheriff is of the county I live in. So there's no way I could Facebook message him about my problems, right? But you've got a sheriff who did, in my opinion, his very best to keep Don out of jail.
Yep. I agree.
Did his very best. Well, not quite his very best.
I mean, even
he did his very
Billy
best for
Joe
his son,
didn't even get quite
but
that.
Don was a close second.
Yeah.
I mean, they cut 6 months off his time, and he didn't even have to go to the damn sobriety, the sobriety house.
Right.
At all. Yeah.
What's up with that?
Me. I don't know. I mean, he got caught with a DUI while he's on felony probation for a gun charge.
Right. He says his trumped up charges. I went to jail for no reason. Like, that's what they're letting him spread around on the Find Summer Wells site. I got arrested and my trumped up charges. No, you was drinking and driving, you idiot. You were arrested while live streaming. It wasn't trumped up charges. So he can't even tell the truth in that. When we all saw what happened, you think he's telling the truth about anything?
According to Don, his blood alcohol wasn't that high. He said he wanted to see the
0.09. That's it.
He said he wanted to see the footage, and they conveniently lost it. I had to pull it back up.
Well, Don says a lot of
things. Footage because they didn't have no body cam or car cam from anything before. But I actually had to take down. I had a decal in the back right here. It said findsummerwells.com. And very recently, I razor bladed it off because there is just no way that I can propagandize anything that Tim Mullins is involved in.
Yes, I agree. Yep.
I remember you having it on there.
Yeah, I took it off, man. It hurt my heart to take it off too. I even scratched off the find and .com, and I was like, nah, it is.
You know what? They're real simple.
It followed me around, Uncle Matt.
You can get your own made for really cheap too, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. For a year, I had that thing in my rear window where everywhere I went, I looked in the mirror and I could see findsummerwells.com.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have a sticker like that on his own truck.
Oh, really?
No,
he does not have it.
Shit.
The Subaru ain't got anything on it.
Wow.
Only the Subaru's got is a busted out light on the passenger side.
So what do you guys make of, there's something Jody Sue said that I was wondering if it was true. One of the only things that come out of that mouth that I think is true, only because the Wells were gifted a Subaru. I don't believe they bought that, whatever. Sandman's got a Subaru. I hear Robin has a Subaru. Is it several church members all have the same vehicle?
No, it's a good question. I mean, I don't know what it is, 35, 45,000, out the door, and they got it brand new.
I think they said David Dodson had a silver Subaru or something like that. So Jody's words, take it with a grain of salt, literally, was that there was several Subarus that were all pulled into the Wells' driveway and they're all church folk, and brought up something about they all have the same car, just all in different colors. But
you could really wipe that away just by saying it. Well, maybe somebody at the church, works at the dealer and can get a friends and family discount. I mean,
there we go. My
brother worked at Mercedes, and I took a lot of people there and got cars for next to nothing. Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, you could bring up all the poignant moments in this thing, right? Like I've got 7 alibis. Candace doesn't have one, and then he slaps her all up like Muhammad Ali. Yeah, I don't know. Like, he trying to figure out all of the alibis with my wife, right? Not trying to slap her up.
Yeah, why you would say that?
No. No. I want to pull up this McBro really quick and show you guys.
McBro?
Yeah.
I call him McDonald.
The look on Don's face is just, man. It is crazy.
People are giving me shit, Benny, because they're like, you just forgotten about Summer. I'm like, no, I haven't forgotten about Summer. There's no possible way that will ever happen. I'm just not down with the bullshit that's happening, because it's just, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat.
Let me ask you both a question. Has either one of you two ever checked out the Joe Clyde Daniels case?
No, I don't know that case.
No.
Look it up and get ready for a good laugh. There's a reason why I don't like our district attorney, besides calling him a moron jack-off. Joe Clyde Daniels' father, they've never found this boy's body. To this day, they have not found it. They convicted his father of his murder. Why in the heck ain't we doing something here in Hawkins County? And Joe Clyde Daniels was about 3 hours from where I'm at.
How old was he?
I'd have to look up. I want to say the same age as Summer was. I want to say he might have been autistic or something like that too.
It's because, in my opinion, you get one shot to pull the trigger at the grand jury and bring the charges forward, right? You're not hardly ever going to see them miss the felony murder charge on a parent for a child and then try to backdoor it with a voluntary manslaughter or a second degree or even a third degree, right? It's all or nothing. And I think that I like the approach as a bystander watching, like, yeah, give them the maximum. But at the same time, the criminology technology now, it is no problem to get a bodiless warrant. And there used to be the protocol that you had to have been biologics left behind that would suggest that the wound was not survivable, right? I don't know. To me, like, handing them their phones back the day of the 15th or 16th and everything from 3:30 on is gone. Boy, that's really all you had to say to me.
Yeah.
What that means is they do not, they refuse to leave them with the intel of their own goings-ons that day. Because even with the phones, the three of them couldn't get the story right. Grandis, Don, and Candace. They could not get it straight. So they're like, well, let's just remove all of the data from the phone from 3:30 on and now try to get your timeline together. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it.
Stop questioning and start interrogating, right?
I mean, when the first time I publicly asked Candace, I said, hey, Candace, you know that Prairie Garden told me that she was on the phone with y'all the day that they brought you in and wanted to talk about a subsequent trip from the Hill. Now, I'm here to tell you there's allegedly, at the very least, 3 departures and incomings, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the going out for the day. Fred Hill's buddy who's driving by says he sees her walking off Fred Hill's driveway. Restroom, came out and left without saying anything to anyone. And she thought that was strange. A few days later, she realizes what's happened and she calls the TBI and they come down to get the footage. That's 3 trips. So when I asked her about, hey, Prairie Garden said that you were pretty upset that the police told you that you had left twice. Did you leave twice? And she said, that's what they say. That's what they say. I don't care what they say, Candace. I want to know what you say. Dutchie interviewed the lady that's the manager at the BP down there and said, listen, Candace knows all of us. It's like when she goes to the dollar store. She'll go to the dollar store with $1 and spend 10 hours in there chatting it up with everybody that comes in. She walks into the store, goes to the bathroom, buys nothing, says nothing, and walks out. And that's the other way. That's not towards Kingsport. That's the other way. That's towards Rogersville. So she was out bebopping around, right? You got Don said he left shortly after 6 o'clock. He said even on them back roads, he made it for it. What do we say? Made it from an hour away. He made it in 35, 45 minutes. No, you didn't, because you pulled in at around 7. It actually took you about 50 minutes to get home, homie. You're late. You're not early. You're late. Same as Voldemort.
And Benny, you've been on these roads up here. You and I both know some of these roads you ain't gonna fly around.
You are exactly right, Uncle Matt. Shit. Them ditches are unforgiving up there. There ain't no guardrails, no pea stone to land in. It is just rocking the bottom.
Some of them, if you hit it wrong, you're going off, and you're gonna be a nice trip all the way down.
Oh yeah. And they built the houses back in the gap, and then built the roads around that. So you'll be going down the road, and the corner of a house is just sticking out in the road. Drive around a little curve, and it's crazy.
There is actually one going down the 70 to Greenville. I hate going down that way. You literally, they built the road literally right around the house.
They did. It's like the house been there for decades, and it was just a little 2-horse path or something, and they come in with the blacktop, man, and they don't straighten it out. They just go right around the corner.
Marlena, a lot of people have Subarus up here. Heck, I've got one.
Yeah. Uh-oh. They'll be talking now, Uncle Matt. They're gonna be talking.
I bought mine today. I had to start cancer treatment.
Listen to this, guys.
Okay. Instructions.
Here right now, she would be mad at those people for attacking her parents.
If Summer was here right now, she would be mad at those people for attacking her parents. That's what she said. Listen.
I know Summer would be furious with you all.
Look at Don's face.
And for people to hurt her father and mother, that's like hurt her because she loves her.
She wouldn't be happy.
She would not be happy if she came home today, guys. She wouldn't be happy. I don't know how the two of them can fix 4 lips to say that shit. I'll tell you who wouldn't be happy, them boys.
I feel sorry for the boys. I really do.
Can you imagine them boys that lived their whole life in that shithole house and never took a lay down bath? They just stand up in that funky ass algae. I mean, it's like a backyard inside that shower.
I don't know how you stayed up there for a week.
I didn't. He tried to get me, and I almost was gonna until the first baby roach climbed up the back of my neck on my ear. And I said, hell no. Shit no.
Wow.
And I had one meal with him and had diarrhea for the whole rest of my trip. I'm like, what did you do to the pizza, man? Damn.
I can handle anything, but one thing I cannot handle is cockroaches.
And I'm talking about these were inquisitive little jokers. They're not like the city hood roaches that have run away. No, not these ones here. They're like, ooh, there's company. Let's go meet them. Crawl right up the chair leg, right up your back, right onto your ear. Little tiny one.
And they brought their own footstools and everything.
Everything. And Don and Candace, they just smash them with their hands on the table.
Country Christian says they have a question for Benny.
I hope I have the answer.
Me too. Hey, Wandering. Hey, Boo. This is a good show, Matt. This is a good show. Trev, you got to come up here.
I'm going to go get me some.
Diarrhea off a pizza was at dollar store.
Well, no, it was the dollar store Totino's pizza, but then he also made what is that, enchilada soup.
What?
And then a big glass of white vitamin D milk. And I tell you what, man, holy shit.
Oh, ew.
Yeah.
Okay,
Benny, when you were up there, Benny, did you ever drive around and explore the area?
I did a little bit, but nothing towards Rogersville. for whatever reason, thinking back on it, it was like I was really compartmentalized, right? I was, anytime it seemed like Benny might get inquisitive and start sniffing the ground, Tim or Trudy or Chris, they might call me, all of them collectively or one at a time or whatever. And oh gosh, you got to do something about Ernie, or you got to do something about PG, or
Yeah, it's a lot. They played me and Benny, and specifically Benny, right? Because he's got the muscles too, right? But yeah, they had us straight acting or trying to have us act like they're goons. And Benny and I remember, sorry, Benny, I hope you don't mind me saying, but yeah, we would have our private conversations 100 times a day. Like, why these motherfuckers have us like, oh, well, let's do it and find out where it leads us to and why,
Yeah, absolutely. And I was kind of just being, led around by the back of the neck. I didn't know. I mean, it's not until the last couple of months I've really started to figure out what all has transpired around me that I didn't know about.
How have you been affected? So like, he went to jail, everything happened, right? So today, how are you feeling today? What would you say has been the most effective positively and negatively so far for you in this case?
Negatively was the fact that Candace Wells has never had someone like me or like you or like Mark just be nice to them. And I went ahead and I was just being a decent human being. And then the predator switch gets flicked, right?
Mm-hmm.
As soon as Candace she's like, you're being nice to her, well, now she's going to fall in love with you. And then she's going to tell people that you tried to have sex with her and all of this kind of stuff. And then meanwhile, the fanciest restaurant she's ever been to, she never even been to a Red Lobster, just that Mexican joint down there in Kingsport. That's the fanciest she ever been to. And that hurt my heart. It was like, wow. So I bought her and Grandis a little suite at the expensive hotel up there, took them swimming and pretty much y'all demanded that they get in the bathtub. I'm like, no, get in that bathtub, soak in that bathtub. Like, come on now. And to see Grandis and Candace actually relax at that hotel and lounge around and stretch out and stuff, that was a positive and really a really sad negative,
Yeah.
These people just never, they go spend $3,000 on crack and sex workers, but not go have a steak somewhere. They eat spaghetti 4 times a week and they don't wash the pan,
Wow.
And it's really kind of affected me adversely when I go to, say, anywhere public, right? And I probably look like a weirdo because when I go out, if I'm not with my child, I'm super hyper vigilant of all the children around me. Like when I go to the trampoline park, I've talked to the lady there 3 or 4 times. I'm like, listen, these parents all camp out here in the front and they're on their phones and their computers. And meanwhile, there's no system. Like even Chuck E. Cheese, if you go in with your kid, they're going to put a black light stamp on both of your hands. That's the same symbol, right? Everywhere I go, I get so anxious seeing all of the loopholes where children can just be taken. And while we were setting this up 1 hour ago here in Azle, Texas, there's a Amber Alert for a victim who's 13 years old. She's a white female. Her name is Aubrey Trainer. She was last seen wearing a black shirt with Tupac on it, tie-dyed pants, white slide shoes, wearing her hair in a bun and glasses, traveling with an unknown suspect in a white panel van with unknown license plates. I mean, it's just every day, bang, 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 bang. In Azle, Texas, that's a small place. It's not too far from here.
You just shared Benny in your Facebook group. Thank you.
Yeah,
Benny's very underrated, but let me tell you, he is a good one. Like I've always said, well, Benny, or how about this share? Benny does this. So every bad thing you tell me about Benny, I'll tell you 12 good ones. Like, get out of here.
I know like we got moderators in this, so drop both these to their links, their
I
channel links.
gotta. So,
thank you for that, share.
how hard? It had to have been hard because I didn't even make it there, right? And just what I dealt with just through the phone and video call, like just virtually, took a physical, mental, spiritual toll on me. And you were there. So
Yeah.
how has it affected you now, your everyday life? How has it changed you as a person? Because I know
I can't hide my anger anymore.
Yeah.
Like coming down the hill with the log. Just had every intention on making sure that if those people thought that Summer Wells was on that property somewhere, that it was absolutely important, critical, that those people not be allowed to touch anything, because we're talking about
I agree.
Bullhorn Sweaty who keeps finding stuff all over in these cases, right?
Right.
I was like, if she's here, well, she's not going to be down the 4-inch well hole, right? You're talking about a 2.5 to 4-inch pipe. That's where they thought she was down a pipe. Like you'd have to steamroller first to put her down there. But that sort of thing, like when it comes to the really kind of, dollar store variety of bullshit, man, I probably overreact. I'm like, either you're that stupid and you shouldn't be here covering this, or you're playing games, and there's just no time to play games.
Right. What about you, Uncle Matt?
What?
Dealing with these people, and you've been dealing with Tim a lot on the low. You keep it a lot to yourself until I out you. But
I keep a lot of it to myself because there's certain things that, and I'm thinking one thing in particular that was said to me by Don that I was going to freeze over before you ever find out what he said. But see, with TBI, I compartmentalize more of a lot of things.
Yeah.
I've just realized with Don, he's all mouth unless something in it for him.
Right.
If there's nothing in it for him, well, I mean, he'll talk nice to your face. Next thing you know, he's turning. Well, I saw nice to your face. He's got a knife in your back, twisting it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I've seen it.
They're just always looking for the next person to victimize.
Exactly.
And the severity or extreme nature of how this next victimization is going to actually play out, I think a lot of times is unbeknownst to them. They just know they're going to get over on somebody, right? The same group of people, because whoever this grab person is, they're a YouTuber too. So when you come on here and you talk about the very degenerative nature of all of this because of YouTubers, it's those very same YouTubers that are paying to keep you out of jail because you and your chick can't get motivated to pay for the kids that you brought into the world. And thank God that the services have them, because the first two, there was allegedly 2 attempts to sell these children to other people other than the parents.
The truth does not change. Exactly, Jules. Tim Mullins is a creep, but why insert himself, right? Why is he inserting himself the way he's doing?
For money.
Well, I may have a little insight into that.
Yeah.
He is from the entertainment business. He worked in studios and different things, and he handles media. And he's sort of a novice video productionist, but
on a very small
is
scale.
This sort of call to duty, and absolutely. But I will give Tim Mullins the real estate to operate and say that he felt a call to duty, and that I don't know how long that organic call to duty lasted for him.
Right.
But this is all fuckery here. This isn't a call to duty. None of this is a call to duty, right? Call to duty is, hey, Don, do you think I'm helpful to you and your wife? Oh, you do? Well, if you hit her again, have one more hooker or smoke even one more dime rock, I'm done with you.
Right.
No.
Right.
No. You've got Tim that he can dress up and he can put on his Dockers wrinkle-free shirt too. And he can go out there and do stuff like ask Benny to ask people he knows with money to pay for something that Don and Candace should pay for. Her teeth. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And whose money do you think they were blowing up their nose while they were on Hollywood Boulevard? Not their own money. They got a per diem every day from Dr. Phil and the gang. They was sniffing blow on Phil's money.
Yep.
What kills me about Tim is he now all of a sudden he's whining about everybody on YouTube making money out. Well, and I've said this, and I won't change it. I look at you two just for a good example. You two put the time, everything you've got into this case. Why wouldn't you be compensated? I just never figured that out with him.
But we didn't go in there saying, hey, Benny, guess what? Let's go into the Summer Wells case because there's money there. No. And if you notice, when I first come on the scene, everyone's like, oh, share controls Don. I never one time ever, even my first time on with Don, did I ever want to do it by myself. I knew I needed a good team of people, and we needed to put our heads together from day one. And yes, the fuck, I called Benny as soon as I could get his number.
And you know what? But it was just absolutely impossible for all the different positions to stay filled with all of the action and goings on. Like, it was
never
a battle
do it
for
myself.
Cher to keep me on the road, and it was a battle for me to keep Cher on the road. And
we had to really be there for each other. Like, what we're doing, this is about Summer. This is a little girl at the end of the day. All right, we got this. But it was a lot of, we had to keep each other strong, I'd say.
I mean, I wanted to give up every day.
More so Benny with me. I needed pep talks a lot.
Well, I was just taking your lead, and I'm very appreciative for you allowing me to come in like you did. And, I had an experience, but to go back really quick about the call to service for Tim.
Yeah.
I did the same thing with Cash Gernon. Right.
Yeah, you did.
The little boy lived less than 7 or 8 10, and I stayed away from it. And it was the very people who in the end tried to admonish me for being involved that shamed me into getting involved. Right. And then once I got so involved, there's things like, I bet you nobody knows that Cash Gernon was exhumed, cremated, and then transferred to Savannah, Georgia, and re-put back in the ground. All why? Well, because the two grandmas can't get along. That's why. And so now Connie Gertrude, for some period of time, rode around with Cash Gernon's headstone in the trunk of her car.
Wow.
I mean, I can't make this up. I cannot make this up. And then you've got Peppermint Patty, who's telling me these things. She wanted me to. Connie was going to have a memorial bench put at the spot of the death site, and she wanted me to go there on the day and disrupt it all. And I said, Miss Patty, there's no way. I don't care if she scammed $100 million to buy that bench and put it in the most obscure place. You're going to put it where the boy was found. Why not put it somewhere else, like at the park where we did the balloon release or whatever, right? You're talking about a park that area is patrolled heavily by the police, and that's about the only area over there in the woods that is, because it's like a 2 to 4 acre little woodland, and people only go back there to do bad stuff. And I told Patty, I said, yeah, I'll look into it. She wanted me to drive out there and intercept Connie while she was mourning her grandson. And I'm like, there's just no way.
Wow.
There's no way. I'm not going to go ruin one of the last things that Connie's going to have with her grandson. It's not even Patty's grandson. It's her step grandson. And that doesn't mean she probably loves him any less, but that's the sort of thing that's going on, right? One's convincing the mom of Cash to move him out of state. And then you've got another one who has made a channel in the boy's name. And the mother is like, no one has the power to talk for my son or about my son. I mean, Connie Gertrude, she found like 7 or 8 grams of methamphetamines in her house after her live-in boyfriend choked the shit out of her. But she wants to fight for these kids, right? She wants to bring these kids to her house. No, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work at all.
Wow, that's crazy.
These people are whack. They're whack.
Someone said, but what if Tim is involved? Yeah, who said that? Was it Patty? Tim is getting paid to coddle and wrangle the Wells. Money is the only motivation. Money, but where is that money coming from?
It could all be a write-off for him, you know? I mean, Chris and Trudy, they're not doing it for free.
Mm-hmm. Hey, there's Gonzo. Gonzo, you put the pictures up in the car or suggested, or did they already have the pictures? And I'm just asking.
That was hooker repellent.
Also, no, long time no see. Pics were already up in the car. Okay.
Yeah, that was a deterrent.
Okay. Funny.
I'm serious. Like he's not gonna take that truck down there. That truck is it's not reliable. Wasn't running right. So that man was making trips down there in the reliable vehicle, and the only deterrent that she could put is the picture of the 4 kids. Don don't care about none of that. He doesn't care about any of that. He's leaving panties in the car when he comes back, right? That was so that the hookers could see those kids and maybe have a second thought when he comes back, right? That was so that the hookers could see.
Where is the green Suburban?
Have a second thought.
I think they still got that. Perhaps maybe Tim can take a picture of it and have Don sit under that too. Like that's fucking helpful in bringing Summer home like a real freaking idiot. He thinks he's so funny. Like that just drives me insane too.
He's the opposite of funny.
Yeah.
He's funny looking.
Yeah, that's about it. That's where it ends.
What do you, Uncle Matt and Cher, what do you think about the statement from the detective saying that the boy's case bleeds over? I think it's a terrible choice in words, but what do you think about that?
Well, I thought that too. I was like, well, what bleeds over? Like, why? First of all, why would they even say that? But yeah, I kind of get it because my guess is we know there's abuse on those boys, but bleeding over could be. Well, I feel as though from what I've witnessed, they have definitely put a lot of, I guess, maybe mental torture on the boys, like blaming them. It's their fault, or letting them believe that it's their fault. But the boys definitely know more. So that's how it could bleed over. I don't think any of that should be public just for the sake of protecting what we can left of those poor boys. And let them have.
What? You got to ask yourself, are those boys terrified of their parents? Or was it like National Lampoon's Crazy Drug-Fueled Weekend?
Yeah,
like,
I believe they're afraid.
There?
No, I believe they're afraid because from my experience in the system, right, and my mom pulling strings and getting me back 3 times before it was no more, no, nothing. There's something pretty bad when it's almost 2 years. The boys were taken about 1 month, maybe six weeks about after Summer's disappearance. And the fact that there's no visits, and now it's even locked down even more. There's something, there's bad news there, because that's not likely with boys of their age. They're over the age of, I'll say, it's probably been up from, let's say, 5 to like 7. All 3 of those boys are. So it's harder to place, trying to keep sibling groups together even. So the main priority in the system at that point would be to try and get the family back together. Now, you'll see that happen within the first 12 months, though. So we're going on almost 24 months. We're on what, 21 months now?
21,
so
yeah.
Now all of this stuff. So from my own experience, and yes, I was through the system through a different country, Canada. Shout out Sarnia Children's Aid, but with it being 21 months and nothing, no visitation, not even allowed calls now, that in my opinion, that's very telling. And then boys are afraid.
I think that you're probably right.
They're probably even choosing this, in fact.
I think they're probably so afraid, they ain't saying nothing.
Yeah.
They're not saying.
Nobody knows what kind of abuse they went through.
I mean, when you have a father that will allegedly grab up one of the boys because there's been some sort of misconduct with allegedly a little girl on the hill, he didn't rush that boy straight to a counselor or a psychiatrist to get him some help. He rushed him away to keep him out of trouble, allegedly. And
yeah, but let's ask yourself now, other than, I mean, we can say in Quentin Simon's case, yes, the other children were removed, right? But that's because mom was left out for a while, right? Whatever, just different cases. But what other case do we see that children are missing? Let's say Brandy Neal, Michael Vaughn, he's going missing. Her other children were not removed from her.
No.
You know what I mean? Like what other case do they come in and just take the other kids like that and say, oh, well, because it's dangerous? Well, no, because there's cases that went. Summer Wells is not a high profile case. I don't know why people call that. I don't call it a high profile case because Tim Mullen has stopped it from being high profile. It's not a national case. All people around the world know because of YouTube reaches all around the world. But Tim Mullen on purpose is keeping her under, right? But what other case do you know they come in and they take the rest of the kids out? Because I can't tell you one.
Look at the Ramsey. I mean, just look at any
right,
right?
Right. Even the Ramseys. Yep.
Why would you want to strip a child away from its support system during arguably or unarguably one of the worst traumatic times of their life? The only reason you snatch them away, listen, cocaine, a little cocaine or a lot of cocaine, that's not a good enough reason to take them. And
you just said it right there. You just said it, because again, it's about further traumatizing these children, right? So it would be in the best interest to have the family get them back. Their sister's missing. Oh my gosh. Now, like, let's try and get them back with mom and dad as quick as possible and get them sobered up. But I know too, Tim Mullen stops them from going to a real rehab. I have offered that at the beginning. Tim Mullen stopped it. Why? Thought the church was supposed to want better for their people than that. Tim Mullins stopped him getting free rehab help from the beginning when I first put my hands on this case. You all know that. And a team of attorneys. The pro bono attorneys he's begging for now, I had that. Tim Mullen stopped it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really even know who Tim Mullins thinks he is. Like, you know, I mean, sometimes I think I'm Sylvester Stallone or Brad Pitt. Like, I don't know what action figure he thinks he is, right? Like, I don't know who he thinks he is because he creeps around, right? Like, the way that he navigates life is very creepy. He's just always out of color, right? He's gonna be wearing a 3-piece suit when other people are wearing Speedos and vice versa, right? It's strange because definitely what he is he's the Teflon, right? Like he's the one that can say, okay, Don, just if you don't want to come down here and search with me on this last video that we just did, at least sit up there at the top of the hill where I can get you on the camera while I'm down here looking for your kid with one hand, because I'm videoing with the other. And I'm showing everything shot to shit, bullet holes and everything, right?
Oh shit.
Don can't have a gun like that. Don said somebody came tried to break into his house 3 times while she was gone and he was locked up trying to get that safe. He said in that safe was 5,000 rounds of ammunition. Then it changed from 5,000 rounds that his mother had down to 2. Now, I believe the 2. Where did he hide 5,000 rounds of ammunition as a felon in that house? There's only concrete in the basement. So there was no safe bolted to the floor upstairs. I mean, hell, the upstairs is not even framed dimensionally where you can put a full-size refrigerator on there without it falling through the floor. So the safe is downstairs somewhere. I never even saw the safe. But they came 3 times, and the last time they went up to the jail and they served him with a search warrant and said, we're about to go in the shithole and we're about to get the safe. And they went in there and got that safe. And it's got 5,000 rounds of ammunition. Like, it's like peanut butter, no jelly. Why you got all them damn bullets? Where's the gun at, Don? Because it ain't a little flintlock, right? I mean, he's misbehaving and mishandling. He's not in trouble because he had the gun. He's in trouble because he had the gun in the car in the glove box. Can't be there. That's illegal possession. So now primer powdered bullets, they're going to a gun that Don can't have. So just the bullets alone are a felony.
And it's sadly
So
around here,
I don't know. It kind of sounds like to me, he lied on his dead mom. Those are his bullets. He lied on his mom. She's dead. He lied on her, just like Molly.
Ooh, just like Molly.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to hop off of here for an appointment, but I love both of you guys. And Benny, I'm gonna text you later. I've got some ideas.
Sure.
Bye, Uncle Matt. Drive safe.
Have fun.
I'll be in chat anyway.
Right onto Armstrong Road.
And then there were 2.
The last 2 anybody would think of.
That's it.
I
sure appreciate you let me come up here and you know, be a vent valve. Thank you for being a vent valve.
You're not a bad kid. You remind me of my oldest, in all honesty. And you were talking
I can't wait to see what kind of adult I'm going to be.
And you were talking about rehab, and I'm thinking, Don doesn't want to go in rehab because you can't smoke all. Let me tell you, my oldest is in rehab right now for heroin. He's got, I can't wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's his own, Benny. It's just, I'll talk to you about it later in private. I'll tell you right now, it's his own fault.
Sure.
You're one of the ones I wish would reach out to that kid. Maybe you can get through to him.
I would, because right now we're in an epidemic where young, middle class, Latin American and Caucasian kids here in Texas they're experimenting with little colored pills at school, and we've had 5 in the last week die. And so you could go from shooting heroin to swallowing fentanyl really quick, and the people don't care, right? Like down here, they're even telling people they're issuing warnings that if you see money on the ground, do not pick it up.
Nope.
Because these some of these cartel guys, they're bad, greasy dudes, man. And they've been tainting door handles, and they've been tainting money and things. They would, put fentanyl on these articles and then drop them down. And it's just a form. They think it's a victimless terrorism. No.
My brother-in-law smoked pot up in Rhode Island, and he smoked something that was laced with fentanyl. Damn near killed him.
I'm smoking some pot right now, and I tell you what, it's getting scary. It's really getting scary.
I'm the oddball. I don't smoke it, but my wife does, and I go to Virginia and buy it from a legal dispensary.
Yeah.
Not anymore. We had one person we went through, but that was it.
There are medicinal qualities in it, from ceasing seizures to anxiety to hunger hunger stuff.
Diabetes.
There's no medicinal value for alcohol other than antiseptic. That's it.
I'll not admit it. Not admit it. The booze was getting him stupid. It wasn't the booze that got him stupid. It was almost brain.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I want to make a public plea really quick to Chris and Trudy. This thing is only ever going to look as good as you guys cut the suit for it. And with the ideology that you guys carry around out there with that, just let it run its course. You've let it run its course and it's ran. That horse is ran. It won't run no more. And I also want to say something to Don. Like, he's acting like now, if we waste any time, it might mean that, poor Summer's life is going to hang in the balance. Donald, we got over that a long time ago, homie. Back when we were begging you to do shit and you wouldn't do it, that's when the time was now. That's when Benny acted a fool because I couldn't even stand myself some days. I'm like, man, she could still be alive right now. They're talking August, mid-August, early September. She could still be alive. And here you are messing around like one of the chipmunks. And now 21, almost 22 months later, you come here with this real serious look on your face and this earth tone Dockers wrinkle free. And we know he probably wasn't even wearing pants below that. You know what I mean? Like, it's too late. It's over. It's over. You have all these people, Uncle Matt, on the internet that have stretched the definition of what a cold case is and actually is. Oh, no, this isn't a cold case. This is frigid cold. This frigid cold. When the police won't even take tips from the public, cold. Cold. On the Evelyn Boswell case, they asked for any tip they could get from the public, from the internet, wherever. They don't want that here. They do not want that. And
I've been told, I'm not going to say by who, that Sullivan County Sheriff would love to have this case. And I bet you, well, I know why, because he wouldn't play this game that's getting played around here.
I mean, you don't even have there's no continuous thread between the information even, right? Like this flyer right here, it's made by Tim's dumb hands, but it says if you've got information, call 1-800-TBI-FINE or tips2TBI@tn.gov. Why? They're not the lead. Hawkins County is. So even in trying to be helpful in this situation and find the logo, let me tell you the mechanics, Uncle Matt. If you want to get a tip to Ronnie Lawson, you got to call TBI, and then TBI's got to pack it up on a horse and then bring it back down to Ronnie Lawson. When if Ronnie Lawson and Pruitt are the leads, why don't you just call them directly? It's an oversight, right? That's what I would call that. It's like a TBI oversight. It's like, yeah, we're the larger agency. We have the resource. We understand you've got the jurisdiction, but we're going to go ahead and take all these calls. I mean, I've called that call center and got the same lady over and over and over and over. It's not like there's 100 ladies sitting there taking these calls. It's that they don't want to take the calls, and TBI says, we'll take all of them. And then we'll decipher through it, and then we'll give Ronnie Lawson what we think he needs to have. Ronnie Lawson just thinks he's the head of this stuff, Matt. He's not. He's the figurehead of this stuff. That's it. If you think that the TBI was going to let him hold on to all this information and compartmentalize it from any other exterior agency, when you got to know the TBI knew all about Brandon Lawson and all about all the little girls that didn't get the justice. They know about that.
It's all the old boy BS network, and I've made a video. My wife asked me to back off, and I'll explain to you private why. But Brandon Lawson he didn't get a deal of lifetime. He got, but for you girls, I'm sorry, I'm putting it blunt. There was a freaking circle jerk going around and around.
He got a one-of-a-kind deal. He got a one-of-a-kind deal, Uncle Matt. Special prosecutors from other counties dropped all the charges, basically getting, once this fool serves 30% of that year, he's eligible. He'll serve 4 months and could come home after that. That's what the sentencing guideline says. I mean, hell, even for violent sexual offenders, it's still like 15, 20%, or 45, 50%. They meet that in the incarceration, and then they're actually eligible. But you're talking about county jail shit. So what they're giving him is like a 3-for-1. For every 1 day he serves, he's getting credit for 3 days. They had his court proceedings on a day when the court was closed. Had a special clerk come in there. And this clerk didn't want to be identified as being involved. So the initial paperwork, Uncle Matt, did not even have the clerk stamp with their name on it. It was a generic stamp, right? Nobody wanted that stink on them. And it's been that way since the ground level. And it's no change in sight, right? Because you've got a sheriff in Ronnie Lawson, Uncle Matt, that when he looks at his own son's situation, he sees it as a win. If my daddy was the sheriff and I got a parking ticket, I'm about to serve 90 months for that parking. I'm going to learn my lesson. And he's going to teach all the constituency that may or may not vote for him in the upcoming election. He's going to learn them a lesson by looking at me. And that's not what you got. It's not what you got at all. Oop, I think Uncle Matt booted himself. Hell, I'm about to run then. I'm about to run off with it. You've got the sheriffs putting some sort of recording mechanism, a wire on Fred Hill, right? Some kind of wire. And then you wonder why Don Wells comes to the web and he hates every fucking thing having to do with the meth dealer. Well, yeah, why not? You got one down the road that I'm almost for certain the reason he doesn't like Fred Hill is because Candace Wells probably commerces with Fred. Because base cocaine is not Candace's flavor. Methamphetamines is. So you've got that thing right there, right? It would be no different than if there was a very unattractive woman that was down the road there on Ben Hill that sold cocaine that maybe Don would go commerce with occasionally. And then that would be a bone of contention with Candace, right? So I don't know, right? But certainly would worry about somebody that smokes base cocaine just like I would a meth head, right? I mean, shit, at least Fred Hill admits to it. Even if he's lying, I got such bad ADD, this is like Ritalin, this the cure. Okay, well, whatever, load out your ass, Fred. But there's nothing medicinal about no crack cocaine. I'm here to tell you that right now. And I'm going to hang out until Uncle Matt comes back. I don't want to leave him. I don't want to leave the car rolling with nobody behind the wheel. I don't want to leave the car. If anybody remembers what this picture is right here, my profile picture, you guys remember? It was the night Don was in his feeling sorry for nobody but himself. And I said, Don, open that Bible up. I said, flip through the pages like a deck of playing cards and just drop your finger down. And he did that. And he had the balls to be truthful about it because If I was him, I would have just slid my finger down about 4 inches and read a different passage, right? But he read a passage and it had to do with what, essentially wayward children. And I told him, I said, that's the power of the God I serve, right? He's going to put it in your life right now. Sometimes the answer to the prayer is on his time. Sometimes we get it on our time, right? So in my opinion, when Don comes out of jail and I ask him in December or January, how is your relationship with Christ? And he said he spent all that time in jail and didn't read no Bible. Well, I think you're scared of him. Yeah. No. You definitely don't want to go sit down and spend 6 months with somebody that you've infracted upon. You know what I mean? Like, if you're the son of Christ and Summer is the daughter of Christ, well then you done fucked around and lost the daughter of Christ. I wouldn't want to sit across the table from that man either.
I wouldn't either.
No, think about it. Yeah, I would run from God too if I was serving the devil. Yeah, you remember that night, Amy? Yeah. And the look that came over his face was just, it was galvanizing. He turned he turned a shade of red, pink even, and you could almost see his carotid artery just bang, 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 bang. And I was like, you can't script it like this. Stephen King can't write a novel like this. Is Don a Mormon? Don grew up a Mormon. And I don't know, maybe he had his fair share of sexual misconduct out in Utah, and so he's completely denounced Mormonism. And now he's an SDA. Yeah, they think the old white lady is the savior. Okay.
Actually, the SDA church was formed before that.
Correct.
It was formed by some guy. If you look it up, and I looked up on, and I almost died laughing. He literally said he will make the Bible suit his needs.
Absolutely. I mean, how could you serve a religion who the prophet is a lady with the last name White? So what you're trying to tell me is that God chose an American, specifically an American and a white lady, right? Like he did David Koresh, right? No. That's not the way it works. Not at all. And if you know anything about the SDA church, throughout the course of its tumultuous existence, there's been many break off factions and whatnot, and a lot of it becomes violent. A lot of David Koresh got in a shootout for control of the Branch Davidian. I mean, that just is not yoked in the word, the real word, right? And you try to change the day of rest.
When is the day of rest?
Sunday, baby.
Wrong. It actually is Saturday.
Well,
believe it or not, it really is.
If what he was doing was actually the Sabbath, I would agree. No. What he does is he uses the Sabbath to get intoxicated every time. Every time.
Oh, you're talking about, we're talking about two different people.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think we are.
I'm talking about God forgot it was Saturday. We're supposed to take one day out anyways and rest and relax.
That's it. So yeah, maybe the whole world is fooled, and the banks and schools and all kinds of stuff is shut down on the wrong day. That's fine. It's been running this way just fine for a long time. But for him, I mean, I think it's crazy when I walk into a church or someone's house and they got a white-haired, green-eyed Jesus on the wall. There ain't no way. The man lived outside and he's from the Middle East. If he looked like anything, he looked like Bin Laden, right? But now these idiots have taken it a step further. And hey, I like the idea. You empowered a woman. You sure did. But it does not have any sort of tie to real spirituality, right?
I'm listening to you, kid.
I just, I've had this man, Uncle Matt. This man has come here and played with all of us and all of our knobs and switches, and like a billy goat. You leave a billy goat somewhere, it's gonna mess and bite and fuck with everything it can reach. And that man has played with our spirituality. He's played with the way that we look at situations when we go into the real world. He's forced us to stare at him go to the bathroom, beat his wife, lose his children, lie on YouTubers. And now he's built a harem of the most sexually defunct bipedals you're going to find on the net. Oh, yeah. I got confirmation today that White Boy Lockdown's video, it's going to be on the way, but it's going to be about 4 weeks. So we'll get that. I mean, Donald Wells cannot be around Dolly. He can't be around White Boy.
He can't be around any convicted felon.
He couldn't even have been around me.
I thought yours was misdemeanor.
No, yeah. This is stipulation of his release and probation. Cannot consort with any known felons or people that are on an active supervision.
I didn't think about. I thought yours was misdemeanor.
Oh no, the gun was a felony. 4 years.
For you, not him.
Oh yeah. No, yeah. No, I'm not on supervision. But in the event that I ever was again, I couldn't be around people like Don. And let me tell you what, when I'm on probation, because I always tell him, Uncle Matt, I am not a candidate for this shit. Just go ahead and lock me up. Nope, we're gonna put you on probation this time. I won't even go to Red Lobster because they serve alcohol there in the paper. It says I cannot go where they serve alcohol. I can't. That means no crack houses, no liquor stores, no beer runs, no nothing. You got to work it to the T.
You say call your Mountain Dew, I'm screwed.
I mean, he knows he's going to get a probation violation. I tell him, I said, bro, you don't have to go to rehab if you're just a pussy and you can't hack it. But what you can do is you can go to some of these AA classes and you can hand draw you out one of these sheets where they sign and talk about who the topic was and they put a phone number on there. And then you turn that into the probation. Once you sign for the probation, you already ahead. That's too much like right. That's too much like right. I mean, Uncle Matt, this dude, he don't even stop doing drugs for his kids. He just stops doing it when he's out of money. That's it.
They don't care about their kids. Let's be honest. They cared about the kids.
I mean, it makes it hard for you to care for them when you see how much and how little they care for them. I mean, it became infectious. Like, you know what I mean? It was like at a point in time, we're coursing through this thing, and I'm like, man, Don, just hold on to it, bro. Hold on to it, Maverick. Just keep doing this right here, because then I'm pretty sure you keep doing this, you won't never get them boys back. And we already see what kind of life the first boy had, Donald Jr. I mean, they have a legacy. They have a legacy curse. It's at least 2 sex offending generations in that right there. And you got to question Don's dad, because there's no way Jeannie and Mary can get to this point in their life this many years later without the help of Don's dad concealing the things that happen in that house.
Oh, exactly.
So if you turn your head to it, you're a part of it.
Don's father, he's got so much buried it's not even funny. And now, according to Don, he's really not all that with it anymore.
No. I don't know. It's strange because when Jenny, Gavel Geek Jenny and Mama Sassy, Adrian, when they came back from out there, I distinctly remember when they said that they had asked if they could take Annabella from the hill because she was jumping around and Don wasn't doing well. They thought that maybe we had discussed the idea that he didn't get the proper medical, medicinal withdrawal help, right? So maybe he was far enough in his addiction where he suffered some sort of, event, some sort of psychological event. Or maybe they just treated him really bad in jail. But they said he couldn't hardly walk. They said he couldn't work. And then like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, this fool was on his way to Winslow, Arizona.
Yeah, which he said told me he wasn't.
And he actually wasn't.
That's what he told me.
He was in Arkansas with his daughter. Yep.
Supposedly he can't get work around here.
I mean, Uncle Matt, he even went so far. I had found, no lie, I had found the same hotel in Winslow, Arizona, because I looked at his face. I didn't know it was a song. No, Tiffany Marie called JLR on a three-way. He didn't know I was listening. And JLR, he keeps great tabs on Don. He said, no, Donnie is in Mayfield, Arkansas. He said, look up this hotel. Man, I'll be a well digger's boy. Looked up that hotel. It's the same hotel as they got out there where I thought he was staying in Arizona. Didn't even make no sense. JLR knew right where he was at the whole time.
Oh, that's one. Well, let's not bring that. I'm not even going to go there with that one.
Me either.
One character I don't care for too much.
You should have seen his hands, man, when I came down that hill.
I watched
that stick of wood. Man, I've never seen a man's hands. And they were shaking so bad. That's why you never seen his video. He was videoing. His hands were shaking so bad. I scared him so bad. And I tell you what, Molly and Bullhorn, they're the real deal. No, their adrenaline makes them mad and fierce, like tigresses. It makes him shake uncontrollably. And I just was like, I couldn't imagine having put forward all of the dedication to be at the bottom of that fucking hill and then end up shaking like that, right? It was crazy to me. It was absolutely crazy.
What do you actually think of that whole area? I've never been over Ben Hill. I have no desire. There's no reason.
I was getting about 40 death threats approximately a day. And after 3-4 days, it really started to play on me. Then Voldemort started coming around trying to find me without calling and stuff. And thankfully, I'm a felon. I ain't gonna lie. It was a young lady up there had brought a pretty little pink 40 caliber pea shooter. I had that joker right by me the whole time. I don't give a shit. I'll do 2 years in a Tennessee prison for having a gun than I will fucking around with one of these dumbasses out here. They got nothing to lose, nothing to lose. Voldemort started telling folks he was like, they were going to cut a tree down over the road while I was there. And I was like, man, that'd be the worst fucking thing you could do, homie. Because as soon as I hear the tree fall, I'm going to come punch you right in the trachea. I'm telling you, I'm going to extract all the air from your chest as soon as the tree goes down. So I don't know what kind of tough guy's been out there before. But no, they're idiots. They're all.
Also, they've got 2 creeks on that property. Do they?
I believe it. 2 freaks.
2 creeks.
Oh, 2 creeks. Now there may be, when there's an abundance of water, there may be an area that would look like a creek, but there's only one that's like actually spring fed from somewhere else that, makes the movements. And it goes straight under the road from Jody's, kind of alongside of the road there. And then it curls some point after you get behind the barn on the Wells Lower property. And then it hooks its way back through. But, it's all low lying. So when they get an abundance of water, it just rushes down to there and the whole area changes, it really does. It changes with the water. But when I was there, like it was probably 18 inches, 2 feet deep. The water actually was. The vessel, like the whole bed of the creek was, probably 3.5 feet down, but there was, you know, nice little like 3-4 inch bluegills swimming down through there and stuff. It wasn't rushing. It was just kind of there.
I personally don't think Summer's anywhere around Ben Hill. I really just don't.
I mean, you have to lend some credibility to Chris McDonough and his abilities. I mean, the guy, I don't care how much he ended up costing Escondido in the lawsuit or Oceanside, whatever. That's not my business at this point. But the man is revered in the law enforcement circle, in the cyber world, and in the real world a little bit, right? And he says he can't leave the Hill. He's not saying that she's on the Hill, but in terms of going to look for a viable suspect somewhere else, he can't leave the Hill. It's not going to be a guy like Fred Hill. Shit, Fred Hill just gets pressured a little bit by somebody, and he can't wait to get shaved and fitted out for a wire to go over to the wells and try to talk to him. You know, I don't see the police ever sending wires into innocent people's house. So maybe that in itself already allotted you enough, you know, square footage to say, well, maybe they thought they were guilty right off the bat. Because Fred Hill, he's supposed to be a bad man of Jamma. But now he's on the internet telling people in a drug-connected community there that he'll wear a wire. Oh, man. Because to the man that got all the pills, Uncle Matt, it don't matter if it's behind the pills or a little girl. If you're wearing a wire, you're fucked off. And so now this man is out here admitting to wear wires. Oh, man, that's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Don doesn't like Fred anyways.
No, but there's a complete disconnect with the law enforcement, right? Like Don is fucking suspect A1, right? Uncut. He unfiddled with. Pure as the driven snow. He is the one, the top dog. And he gets on the internet and 2 nights in a row threatens bodily injury to me and Fred Hill. He did to Fred Hill twice in 2 weeks. So shit. If I decide to go to Tennessee and I see you and you've already threatened me, man, I'm going to bust you up and break your clavicles. I'm going to do all kinds of shit to you because I feel threatened. You don't own all of Tennessee. So
no, I don't think he does.
They should have locked his ass up right then. The first time he threatened Fred Hill, they should have locked him up. Should have locked him up.
I'll be blunt. Our sheriff's department up here is the biggest joke of the century. When Ronnie was running for re-election, I'm not going to say who told me. It was actually my neighbor. There was somebody who wanted to run against Ronnie that worked under Ronnie. He didn't because if he lost the election, he was going to get fired. So that's the problem we got there.
Or worse, because there's an allegation that one of the victims of Brandon Lawson, during the time he was awaiting grand jury and trial, it's been said that one of the victim's sons, I'm not going to say who, was cornered in a gas station bathroom and allegedly they planted some dope on him. So, I mean, you can't even mess with a system like that. You know, you can't. I mean, you've got jailers there. Jailers are just as important as the guys that bring the derelicts into the jail. You got to have a zookeeper or else you don't have a zoo.
Oh,
you got jailers. You got distinguished tenured jailers that have to live with their parents-in-law and got to pick between a second car or, you know, full coverage insurance because they got to have the insurance, the health insurance. There isn't enough to have a car, a house mortgage, and insurance for everyone there.
Nope.
But Ronnie Lawson makes 70, 80K a year.
And I bet you did not know when I tell everybody I've known somebody inside. That's my brother-in-law. When I say you got shot 5 times, I'm not even joking. Whoops, I dropped my phone.
Let me tell you what. When that picture came out and he had that Summer Wells coffee cup on his desk, Man, don't you know that I called him and I had it on the line. And I broke that man down to several compounds that is not regularly familiar. And the next thing you know, I got a cease and desist from Nexar, which I think is Nexar. They're the clear channel representative out there that owns the airwaves, that puts the WJ.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, they said, you don't take this down, we're going to sue you. And the video made like $300-400, and YouTube gave them the money. So then I just appealed it, and I was like, look at WJHL. Like, they're harassing me now. And why don't they take any of the videos that make like $3 in AdSense? Why this one? Man, they released that money right back to me. Right back to me. But you've even got Nexar, the people that own the radio waves that put the agendas out for Ronnie Lawson, bullying YouTube creators and me.
You did a video on that.
All because I just called
about a year and a half ago.
Yeah. I just called him and I was like, man, you're an exploiter. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, that coffee cup that you just look down and to the right, that one? Yeah, bro. That's coming from an exploitive place of origin. And then he immediately said, I didn't buy this cup. It was sent to me. And I was like, yeah, man, but I done looked up all the shit to be sheriff and you can't accept no gifts, even free shit. You accepted a free cup? Oh, man. That's the logic, though. Apply the logic. That means you can't even take a paperclip as a gratuity.
Not supposed to.
But you'll take a gratuity that has got a little girl's face on it, right? And you'll do it out in front of everybody. Like, no, that's the kind of decision making right there.
This county is so ass backwards, it's not funny. It really is.
It wouldn't survive in a metro area. You could take the 57,000 people, all encompassing, and I'm not making fun, because I think that people live there because they're searching. They sought after that way of life, that tradition. But you drop them off next to Chicago or Dallas, Texas, man, and it's just lunch. They'll eat all 52,000 in a day.
Yep.
In a day. They think they're bad motherfuckers out there, right? Like, and they're not. They're really not. And they got exposed to the mainstream, and we're looking in, and the average person here has at least a high school equivalency. There's fucking brilliant doctors here and medical staff like Salty C, and man, it's a powerhouse of intelligent women here, and they can see right through the shit.
When I was up in Rhode Island last
year,
I was up in Rhode Island last year talking to a cop up there about Ronnie Lawson's both BS. Oh, I wish you could have seen that cop's face. He'd have tore Ronnie up to shreds. Hang on a minute.
He's known. He's known. I mean, he really is. I mean, when you look at the accolades, which, you know, other law enforcement agents are capable of doing, you know, they have a morbid sense of humor, kind of like doctors and ER nurses and stuff. And no matter how fucked up it could or may have been when they brought that little girl home they found out in that cabin, man, he's still riding on that. It's still old folks, old heads out there that are constituency to that, just in the event that another child could go missing. He's got a track record. He can find him. He's a proven performer. Right?
He's on college trends, because I personally believe that was all.
I mean, he can stand right there in front of the TBI people and say, how many kids have you found? 0, 0, 0, 0. But put one hand up if you've ever found. None of them have found a kid. Hardly none of them. But he has. And so, yeah, I mean, it's like when the President Kennedy came around and he was hugging and kissing babies and shit. It's that thing. Shaking hands and kissing babies.
But back to what you said earlier about this county could not handle Dallas, Chicago, LA, Miami. I can come up with every city you want. I've been to them all.
My brother is a jailer here in the Kaufman County Jail, but he handles the Fed hold, because it's a Fed quarantine as well, right? So if you're going to the Feds, They're going to bring you here and you might stay here, 60 days, 9 months until you catch housing somewhere else in the Fed system. And my brother is all the way serious about his shit. Like, my brother is all the way serious. He wanted to be a road cop, but then he realized that there's a great deal of satisfaction. Like, my brother connects with some of these guys. Like, my brother is daily connected to the shooter of Mo 3. I know you don't know who that is, but he's in the Fed hold here, and he misbehaves any other time except for when my brother's there. And so he realized that, you can reach him in the first place, or you can reach him, on third base. But they just don't have that infrastructure there. They don't have an infrastructure. And everything was just like, it was odd man out, right? Like when the Tim Coop guy gets in front of the board and I just need $11,000, man, and I think I can make it pop. Why $11,000? I mean, give me some insight. Is that what it would cost to operate your team for how long? I don't know, 11,000, few days maybe, right? Like, who knows? But and people bought into it. They bought into it. But nobody came up with $11,000. Nobody jumped in and said, "Hey, Tim, here, man, just take this 11,000 change, man, go make it happen." It's not what it was. He cursed and swore and then walked away and then was called back and then ultimately fired. So all of the dynamics and politics that's made Summer Wells what it is did not happen from YouTube.
No, and we get blamed. YouTube gets blamed for it.
We don't make the news. Yep, we don't make the news. We just report it. That's it.
And what everybody on his getting blamed for. Ronnie said YouTube is not helping. Well, from what I've seen, they've uncovered more. You guys have uncovered more than he's done. So who's doing a better job?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It would be like the Croatians being mad that the Americans want to come help them whip the shit out of another invading country. You get mad at the wrong stuff. No, that's silly. That's silly.
One thing Ronnie doesn't realize, or maybe he does, I have no idea, is you, Sarah, all you guys can talk to people. These people know it's basically hearsay, unless you actually record it or have proven it. They ain't gonna pick you to do that.
No. But it's not good for the goose and the gander, right? Because you would think that Ronnie Lawson, who has a troubled child, Don's in a situation where there's may or may not be allegedly some troubled children and a missing child. Don's in there looking at him every day for 6 months from February to October because of his second DUI. Well, hell, I've had 0 DUIs my whole life. But Ronnie Lawson's had 2. So, I don't know. Like, is there a kinship with the two of them that we just can't see? Because Ronnie Lawson comes on when Don's in jail. He says, parents aren't being cooperative, and they've lawyered up. Man, Candace, that was such a fool-ass thing she did. She burnt him up so bad, she didn't even have to show her face. She just had to show some chicken scratch. And he didn't even come back and say, no. He didn't even rebut. Called them both out and then made himself look stupid. I don't know.
You still got that your own reward going?
I do. But I'm telling you what, there's a house down the street that they're putting back together, man, and I've kind of fallen in love with it. And he wants 10% down, so it'd be 20,000 down. And, I'm looking at different things, right? Like, at some point, it's healthy to move on. I have it. I ain't spent $1 of it. I could put some more with it. But at this point, I'm starting to fall back into the way that I really feel about rewards. And that is that they're not helpful. None of these high-profile KB, hundreds of thousands, $500,000 sitting there. Somebody knows, but won't nobody say. I mean, if you know you're going to go to prison, why not just tell your homeboy and he can go over there, tell the folks what it is, get the money. I mean, you're going to the fucking butt poke anyways. So what do you care? No, out there, if somebody got all that money, it would just be a lifetime supply of above ground pools and meth pipes and shit. That's all it would buy. And you would be rewarding someone that after 22 months decided to come forward when you should have came forward in the beginning for free.
Yep.
That's how I look at those people.
You've got a point I can't argue with.
Man, that's like, yeah, no, I've seen your cat, but you didn't have a reward when it was missing this time. I'll help you look for it now that there's a reward, for sure. Yeah, money's supposed to change it all. But it's not. Like, you'll be rewarding the worst kind of person that held on to the information until they talked themselves into it or the money was right. Man, but if it's for free, man, everybody's going to mind their business. I didn't see nothing. I don't remember anything. Right? That's what it is.
I told Don from the get-go, and I still believe it. And I've worded it very carefully. Someone on Bell and Hell knows more than they're saying. I've got my own list of people I think knows everything. Don and Candace, and definitely one other person who lives, I think, right across from the road. Because you cannot go. It's like I mean,
consensual searches.
Huh?
Consensual searches to me say a whole lot, right? Even if you're stone cold innocent, you never consensually let them take shit or come in and look for anything. You make them get the paperwork. You make them get the chain of custody. Establish the chain of custody. That way, it's like an ace in the pocket, because I'm for sure they would mess that up. Hawkins County would mess up the chain of custody some kind of way. And if you enforce that upon them, which is your right as an American, you've got a leg to stand on in court now. You can get stuff thrown out or you can get stuff excluded. But yeah, I mean, if you've done nothing at all, you don't talk to the police. You just don't. Any lawyer will tell you that. It don't matter what you've done or haven't done. You don't talk to the police, not without a lawyer. You don't let them take things consensually. Right? When there's consensual, there is no chain of custody. Picking stuff up with their hands probably, or, who knows. But I mean, you get, for Christ's sake, you got Candace on Chris McDonough's a long time after the event. And she admits that she has a phone the police haven't taken. Wow. Well, I suppose if you was really looking for your daughter and you wanted to clear yourself, and you know that a lot of cases get solved by way of digital technology, you would rush in there and try to clear yourself. Just like when Don goes to jail, Tim Mullen's dumbass should have rushed right in there with the phone and said, here, I'm, part of this group. I want to feel confident that this guy. Yeah, you should have offered that. You should have been the first one. I was the first one to call him. I said, man, look, I don't know where the phone is at, but he's got a bootable copy on his computer. And the way he's acting about this, Mr. TBI agent, isn't right. He's not acting like it's just something inconsequential. He's acting like, oh, Benny's got a point, and I didn't think this far ahead. Because I always return my friend's phone in a plastic bag, always.
I still think Tim's got an ulterior motive behind everything.
Tim wants to be something to someone. Tim don't have no kids. Tim has no kids. Tim doesn't have a wife. So Tim doesn't even know what it means to really be human. Because when you don't have any sort of physical intimacy, touching, you're reaching across to get the green beans and you rub wrists. He doesn't get none of that. And so he does definitely have a disconnect when it comes to loving things, right? He'll never take the risk and love something more than himself. And you can see that all through this. All through this. His damn dad is a preacher's son. You mean to tell me? Yeah, he's got one brother that's a cop, and Tim just never really amounted to anything, nothing, right? And he's probably, in terms of the moral fabric and the way it's wound, it's not tight. Because I know his daddy is rolling over in his grave. Like, there is a limit to witnessing to people. Like, you just don't keep going to the pedophile's house when the pedophile don't want to stop being a pedophile. You got to leave that one with God and move on to the next one that you can help. You can't do nothing with that.
The only Tim's on right last up. When I last time I thought of him, he was taking care of his parents.
He claims that he has an apartment somewhere in town that he keeps a bunch of equipment, like media equipment or something. Now, I don't know if I believe that or not, but I know when I got in his truck for the first time, in the back seat on the shirt hanger, he had like a big heavy duty, like a steel erector, nylon harness and ropes, chainsaw, mixed fuel, bar oil. And when you got in, you just cut trees, you could smell it. And I'm like, man, what you doing up in them trees, man, with your old ass? He just goes out in the woods. He doesn't burn any wood. He lives in town with his folks.
Or unless what I've been told is true, and
what the hell is he doing?
I think it is. I've been told he has a house under an alias.
Wandering around. He had a hard hat.
Supposedly,
that fool had extra clothes. If he got wet, he could change. I think he even had a fishing pole in there.
Supposedly,
had a little bit of everything. I've
been told he's got a uses an alias and has a house somewhere here in Rogersville.
He says that he has, an alternate space that he, because he was like, well, I sure hate to think you're going to spend the night here at the Wells. I wish I could offer you my apartment, but I just can't. I'm not set up for it. And I was like, man, look here. I ain't worried about that. I'll sleep in my car, or, these people that believe in the mission, man, they'll make a way.
Hang on a minute. I got to make a delivery.
Delivery. Well, I got John Crimes, and he's wanting to do this studio session. So I need to jump over and get on this music with John. But I sure I appreciate you having me, Uncle Matt, and I have you over mine sometime here pretty soon.
You got to unblock me of yours.
Everyone's unblocked. I hit the whole button.
Oh.
So. Oh, he just booted himself. Anyways, this is the Benny Keyz Show. We've taken over like the Gestapo. Sure appreciate you stopping by. Show Matt some love on the way out. Man, hold on. Let me show him some love real quick. Keys on the beat 420. Oh, I forgot the password. I'm going to send you a super sticker and get my ass out of here before John Crimes get mad at me, baby. Y'all could feel free to send him something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You go have fun with your music thingy.
Yeah, I got an engaged.
But I don't know if you heard me. This phone started whacking up. The number you texted this morning is actually my cell.
Okay.
The only people who've got that number besides you is Mark and Share. That's it.
Oh man, so you telling me I'm somebody?
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. In fact, Uncle Matt, I was thinking about next month. Dolly Vision had challenged me to come to Tennessee, and I told him, I said, nothing good will come from that. I'll take you in the woods fishing. 2 will go, 1 will come back. I said, so while you're up there messing around, the two of you pedos and shit, I'm going to go to Virginia and protest in front of your house with the big red dot on it and do shit like fly from the red dot to the nearest school and make sure it's all where it's supposed to be at, right? So I think I might be doing that here in the next few weeks. And if I do it, I'm going to drive, I think. So I'll be stopping right by through there to mess with you.
Well, I drink coffee. I don't know what you drink.
Dr. Pepper and Pedialyte.
Dr. Pepper. My daughter used to drink Dr. Pepper.
It's a staple in the South. I'm trying to put my passcode in here. Hold on. Keys to it all. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm gonna. Do you have a Cash App?
Don't ask me how to use it. I ain't got a clue.
What's the hand?
Hell, I got. Hang on, I got to figure out how to do this and drive. Now you're just being difficult.
Well, is it Matt Gilbert 123?
Hell of a. I honestly. Oh, wait a minute. I even got it on this phone.
Oh,
I don't
well, send me
it's
your
on my
handle.
it's on my about me, but I ain't got a clue anything about it. I've never used it.
It's on your about. Okay, hold on. I want to send you. I want to commerce with you.
I've never used Cash App. I don't know anything about it.
Y'all could feel free too. It's Matt Gilbert 68. There it is. Go buy yourself some lunch, sir, while you're out here working.
Yeah, youngster never called me. I know it's the way you guys were raised in the South. I was brought up in the North. We don't. All the time we say sir is when to somebody that's in their, like my father's age, 80s. I know that's something you guys are raised in the South like.
Oh yeah, I'm a cash guy.
I'm not that old yet.
Yeah, all of this stuff is problematic for me because I'm always like an in the moment kind of guy. So like I know I'm supposed to hold back 1/3, but I spend 4/3 and scrounge around and get the other third back when I absolutely have to. But I just sent you old Andrew Jackson. Go buy yourself some lunch or something, sir.
I appreciate it and I thank you.
Yes, sir. I will talk to you soon.
You
Call
could
me when you're get out of work or something.
I'm going to because I got a surprise for you.
I know you do. I'm ready for it too.
Oh, you know. I'll call you later on this afternoon.
Already, I'll be patiently waiting.
What time is it down there? What, you're an hour or 2 hours behind?
Yes, sir. God bless.
All right. Talk to you later.
1 hour behind.
All right. I'll talk to you later on this afternoon. Well, for a surprise live, I gotta admit, this surprised me. It honestly did. My phone had a mishap for a couple dozen times. But luckily that was all work. That was the first time today's the first time Benny and I have ever actually talked. Me and my oldest son, Cody. I think it's a 10-year. Cody's 33 and Benny's 42 or 3, something like that. Benny, if you watch this on replay, make them all. I'll tell you like that. What am I thinking? Forgot about that, dude. I'm gonna wind this up, people. And I will talk to y'all later. I thank you for watching. Somebody just did some on a super chat or whatever them things are. I have no idea. Doesn't show me much, but I thank you for it. One thing I'm going to say in closing, I think it'll probably take more than that. Keep praying that I know it's going to be in God's time, but not ours. We're going to get answers on Summer Wells. And I keep coming back to the same thing. You'd have to all look up Joe Clyde Daniels. They convicted his father, convicted of murder, of his murder, convicted his mother. I forgot what it was. And yet, they've got the evidence, but nobody wants to do a thing. 2 and 2 is not becoming up to 4. It really is. And when Cher says, she told me all along that she thinks Tim Mullen's controlling Don. You know, at one time I wanted to disagree with her, but sadly I can pretty much say she's right on the money. So some of the stuff I told you, I'm gonna screen record a conversation with Don that I had. But some of the stuff is totally just erroneous and stupid. Like I even told him to get Candace on St. John's board, which I'm a firm believer in. I know it works. Stuff like that. I know I'm trying to think of it. I can't think. But my brain just went out. Well, I'll do thought just ran through my head. Ronnie Lawson says YouTubers are not helping the case. Oh, I know Ronnie's not going to watch this. I think I'd be fall over shocked. But I'll throw down a challenge gauntlet, whatever you want to call it, because I won't get off this case. I don't care. But I will throw down this one. Ronnie, if you do by chance watch this, YouTubers haven't done anything. Prove me wrong. Prove them wrong. Prove me wrong. They haven't. I dare you. See, one thing I'm usually good at is reading people's faces and all that stuff. And I've seen people put everything they've got into it. I mean, you look at Smiley Source every day. I don't think that girl's missed a day yet. I've seen Benny go nuts. I've seen Cher go nuts. I know when I met Don, in all honesty, I shook hands with him. My first thought was, somebody got some bleach. I know it's not the best thing to think of, but that's literally what I thought. Because I know doing DoorDash, and I know I'm rabbit trailing, but I'll deal with it. I've been all over Hawkins and Sullivan County. I've been in Virginia. So I just can't shake the feeling that she was moved somewhere, place they know and nobody's going to think about. I've said this all along. Everybody's got to think outside the box. You cannot stereotype these two clowns. Give me a second. I'm going to pull over in the parking lot. I'm ready for this light. Stereotype. John thinks like a convict. And I know a lot of them. I honestly do. I know a guy did 30 years in prison. 10 of which, believe it or not, he was actually innocent of. He was actually got in the car at the wrong timing. They're the 20. Well, he'll openly admit it. He'll say he did it. One of his charges, he did it for the general adrenaline rush. Well, I guess I'm going to do it this way. But actually, look at that. You got to think outside the box with Don and Candace, and Candace's mother, because not all criminals think alike. Now, I'm not a fan of Chris McDonough's at all. But I also think he's smart enough that he could sat down, he could probably find out more things than he wants. I think Benny and Sarah, they're onto something. I talked to Trevor yesterday after that little comment of whoever Don was supposed to be. I still think it's Tim because I can prove that that's not Don's wording. Trevor and I'm sorry, Trevor, I should have asked you first, but I didn't. Trevor and I talked, and he said, "Yeah, we're putting too much pressure on." Well, that's what we need to do is put pressure on this. Maybe Don and Candace. Maybe we missed the mark. Maybe the person we should have put pressure on happened to be the only person that. I'm not trying to say this in a bad way, so please don't take that wrong that way. But from what I've seen, he really does not have much of a social life or anything like that. And that's Tim Mullen. No. I'm glad I did it right. That's staying up there. One thing I told Don, and I'm probably going to sit down and have when I get time because I really do want to do it. I started doing it this morning, like, and then I started screenshotting it. One thing I told Don, and I've said this all along, that little girl, blonde-headed kid, that little towhead, has captured the hearts of the globe. Now, if you're old enough to remember, I know this is going to sound bad, but forgive me. Back in the day when Charles married Diana, she captured the hearts of everybody. And I'm going to probably get in trouble for this for a while. Summer's done the same thing in a different way. She's captured the hearts of everybody. She really has. We cannot forget and give up. You're right, Lisa. It does mean a lot of hard questions. The problem is we got law enforcement that doesn't want to ask. You've got to stop trying to be buddy with everybody when you're in law enforcement and actually crack down. Trevor, you want to come on up? I'll see if I can figure out how to put the link in the chat. I ain't sure how, but let's see if I do it this way. Wait a minute. I'm not tech savvy. Not even close. Hold on a minute. I'm trying to do this. Mine. There you go, Trevor. If you want to come up, it's there. But I think honestly the pressure needs to be put on Tim, more so Tim than Don. Don told me, and it said in one of the messages, you only trust 5 people. I think one of the 5 is Tim. Come on up here, Trevor. I think we keep. I've been trying to look up, find out what I can without anybody knowing it. On Tim Mullins. You look at the thumbnail on this. That's. I do believe that's a picture of him when he was a little younger kid. Thank you, Irish. You know, everybody's armor's got a weak link. Tim likes to control the narratives and everything else. Don thinks like a convict. Candace, I'm sorry, I met her. She's colder than an iceberg. I remember telling one guy thought me when I was getting gas a while back. He said it seems awfully weird. One family, 2 people missing. Now y'all are going to make me have to learn how to use Cash App, and I have no idea. I honestly don't. I just learned how to work PayPal. At any rate, in the storm, we've been at this for over 2 hours. I didn't know we had. We are some of his voices. Voice of the voiceless. Well, Don and Candace are nice 2 people when it's necessary. Yeah, when I think there's something in it for them. Because when I first met him at the courthouse, I walked up to him, squatted down. Don was in the passenger side. Candace was mumbling something. I don't even know if I heard what she said. And Don and I walked up with my car because I want to grab it. She asked me if I want a cigarette. I was like, that ain't happening. Hey, I don't like store-bought cigarettes that much. I roll my own. But he looked at me and said, I implicitly trust my wife. I'm like, yep. Well, Trevor, you and I both know I always ask you. Today was an oddball. In order to find Summer, I think, like I said, I don't know one person saying it. But I know I got a penny in this car in my pocket. I'll bet I'm right. You got to think outside the box. I'm going to pull a page out of Benny's book. I really am. I want everybody to start looking into it when they get a chance on Tim Mullins. And I grant you there's a bunch of Tim Mullins. Well, from there, so I can find out he grew up right here in Kingsport, Sullivan County. I know he thinks he can sweep the internet. But as we all know, the internet, once it's on there, it's always on there. I know. Hello there, kid.
Hey, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
That's why I said, can you hear me now? That commercial's older than you are. I forgot. You were right when we said we got to keep putting pressure on Tim.
Yeah, well, look at his recent comments. He's getting shook. Messaging me, telling me I'm a suspect and that my texts are gonna come back to haunt me, and he's trying to call out all the YouTubians, as he calls them.
Because I'm starting to really think he's the weakest link.
Well, yeah, because he's the one that if they get in trouble, he's gonna fall. I mean, they're gonna go to jail if they're guilty. He's likely not. I doubt that he has any criminal involvement, but he's gonna go down in the public eye and all of that because he's made himself the public image for their family.
I'm hooking on that for simply after the fact.
Yeah.
Accessory after the fact. They can nail him without if they find he knows anything.
Mm-hmm. And I would, if they are guilty, I'd find it hard to believe that he's made it this long and doesn't know anything that from them.
He knows something.
Yep. To be in this close to them, he had to have. I mean, look how close they are. I mean, they would trust him with their everything at this point, it seems.
And Don told me when we first started talking, oh, you know my buddy Tim? Yeah, okay. Don't know your buddy Tim. Don't want to know your buddy Tim.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd rather trust a sidewinder rattlesnake before I trusted Tim.
Yep. And he's got his own personal gain in this, but of course Don doesn't see that or doesn't want to see that. Or is okay with it. It's one of the three, but who knows? He probably promised them a piece in it too. I don't know, but he sees some kind of financial gain at the end of this.
Yep.
Because he's never wavered.
And I don't know if you saw the community post I put up, I don't know, yesterday, the day before, you and I ever saw it was a year ago. He wanted me to get that billboard right down here in 66 this summer. The last one they had up here. And I straight up asked him, are you trying to bolster your career and make money out of this case or what? That's when he said it's sickened him. And yet, yeah. The other one I sent me, and I read it, and I went through on Facebook and reread it, and it's like, well, okay, now you're just lying.
Yep.
All of a sudden, you want to make money.
Yeah.
Small fee.
It was sickening before, but now it's okay that he can make money off of a membership to learn about Don.
And he knows people are going to do it because you look at Charlie Manson. Charlie had the man's been dead, 3-4 years, and he's still got a following that's ridiculous.
The issue here with Don is that his dirty laundry is aired out. So, I mean, you can learn plenty about him just by going on YouTube, going on the internet, wherever you want to go.
You can watch No Thanks, anybody, the kids, Benny, the lab. He's been all over the place.
Yep. And Don airs himself out. He's the one who admitted to half the things that are out there. Because he's got an excuse for everything.
That's the thing, he's got excuses. I wonder how true his alibis are.
Yeah.
I mean, the Starlink, I don't know if you can turn it off or not. I don't have it in this card.
Yeah, I'm not up on that kind of stuff. Yeah, Tim announced a while back that he was going to be backing off the case. Remember, he posted and said that he's going to be going into the background. He's not going to really be representing the family much publicly.
And that's a lie.
But yeah, now he's offering memberships and posting pictures of Don under a bus making jokes out of this case.
So he's just as culpable and guilty as the rest of them.
Yep. And without a doubt, he's enabling them. If he doesn't know anything, at the least he's enabling them because he's giving them the ability to hide behind all this stuff. And he made this platform Find Summer Wells and doesn't post anything about Summer Wells on it.
Tim knows.
You and I have more.
Huh?
You and I have more posts on our social medias about Summer Wells than the Find Summer Wells page does.
Yeah, no, I've gone through glance through that. I've never really, because to me it's all a bunch of BS. It really is. But as I'm saying, YouTubians, that's taking a page out of Ronnie Lawson's book.
Oh yeah.
And yet, what everybody needs to remember is, and that's what I was trying to explain with Betty, and I didn't do it right. I know I didn't. Is these people will talk to people like Benny, you, me, anybody on YouTube, because they're. My person is, well, they're just people that's on YouTube. They ain't got a brain. Well, that's underestimating. They also know that, well, you don't carry a badge, not much you're going to do, unless you actually videotape it or have some proof.
Yeah, it's like plenty of negative things come from YouTube, but also a lot has been brought to light in this case because of YouTube. Law enforcement has to give bare minimum.
And I've seen cases where the cops are actually thanking people on YouTube that have covered it because they helped solve the damn stupid case.
Yep. Why do you think law enforcement uses social media? If they didn't believe in it, why would they use it? Why would Hawkins County have a Facebook page? Why would TBI have a Facebook page if they didn't believe in social media? Helping in cases.
There's more questions than there is answers.
Yep. And that leaves speculation. So of course people are going to speculate. Is all the speculation good? No, but it's natural. It's going to happen when we have no answers to any questions.
DT's Road, I like to who keeps taking the flyers down in Fall Branch. Leaves the flyers they put up, Betty and all them put up in here in Rogersville, I guarantee they're gone in 24 hours.
Yeah, mine, any of them I've put up there are gone.
When I saw you, I meant to ask if you had one, so I can put in the back of this car, and I forgot all about it.
I still have some. Yeah, I need to cut off the bottom. It had the reward information, which of course the reward is now gone. So, but the top is still good. The picture of her and all that.
Problem is Benny said everything's got to go for Ronnie Lawson. Well, I promised my wife I'd ease up on that one, so because I live right here.
Yeah.
You're in a safe zone. I'm not.
Yeah. I haven't said anything about. I mean, I gave what I knew to those who need to look into him and left it at that. If they're going to do what they do behind the scenes or not, and that's going to be how that goes.
Hang on a minute. My better half just texted me.
That comment's exactly true, though. It's like we're going to pay to see him describe his own life. It's not. Nothing's going to be true. We're going to listen to a whole narrative. I'm not sure that it's the city. There's been places I put them up that are more spread out, like places, parks and areas of parks that are less traveled where I've searched, and they were even taken down. So I'm not sure.
And you've got people just do it because of want to be jerks.
Yeah.
Well, I know next time you come up here, you need to get a hold of me so I can grab one off you.
Yeah, I'll get you some.
I'll tape it. I couldn't believe when Benny said he took, and I know he had that Find Summer Wells in the back of his car. I can't believe he took that off. I don't care if you like Benny or not. I really couldn't care less. And I don't mean you, I mean anybody all in general. That kid put that up there because his heart's in this case, and him taking it down, that's saying something.
And it's sad that Tim has brought it to that people are needing to feel they have to do that. Tim has put that much negative light onto what he's doing.
Tim has enabled this case becoming a colossal joke.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm being very sarcastic because I don't know of any other way to put it. He's made it nothing but a circus.
And nothing that they do bothers him. He's a complete enabler.
And I just don't understand that.
It's like you can be friends with someone and still tell them when they're doing wrong. That's what an actual friend would do. They'd be like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be doing this. It's not helping your image. It's not helping find your daughter. That's what a friend would do. But an enabler is just going to sit there and tell you everything you're doing is A-okay and deflect off of it publicly. And that's exactly what he does.
That's all he's doing. Don't mind me, I'm texting my wife at the same time.
You're good. Absolutely, Arctic. Anyone that sits there and excuses everything they do, especially publicly, is 100% enabling them. Because when you sit up there, and that's when people start feeling they can play victim, is when you tell them that everything they're doing is okay and that they're these great people when it's clear as day that they're not. I'm willing to listen. Do what?
Oh, somebody said cyber typos. We all have typos. What are you doing today?
Doing some schoolwork. That's about it. Lisa, I'll see what I can find out. He's all over the country, so who knows?
When are you coming? Where have you been searching at lately?
I mean, some places I'd looked at were places connected to Warrior's Path, public land, but not often traveled. Like the other side of all that.
I just don't think she's anywhere around the beaten path where everybody's thinking.
Yeah.
Guidance, if they do, that's been brought up more than once, and by this point in the game, it's too late to even try to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know about Kingsport, but if they did the one right here in Churchill, I don't know how to describe it. They dig the ground out down quite a few feet, and then they just pile trash on top and on top and on top. And it becomes a mountain of trash.
Yeah.
So at this point in the game, it's beyond anything you'd be able to find out. And then when that gets too high, they move it over to somewhere else.
Yeah, it's honestly probably too late to be able to look into that, unfortunately.
Sadly, look at that little boy in Georgia. That would have been one spot that might have hit pay dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Because they use big humongous doses up there, and just everything gets buried.
Yep.
I think I'm about to jump off here in what? 3 hours. How long I'm going to stay here working. It's not very busy. It's actually been very slow. JP, according to what Don told me, he's not supposed to be on YouTube or social media.
Yeah. Well, that's what he said. That's what he said after court, and then it just changes based on what they want to do. At one point, he couldn't come on at all.
He told me that before he even went to court.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But then when he goes on panels, it's like sometimes he can't go on at all on YouTube. And sometimes he can be in chat, but not on panel. And sometimes, it just changes. It's like, okay.
All right, I'm going to get off here because I'm going to think about going to the house.
All right, Matt. Well, you have a good rest of your day.
You too. I'll talk to y'all later. Catch you on the flip-flop.
Catch you on the flip-flop.
Bye.